2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the Police Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome in what is a Monday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and also streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. As we are here on a big, and I mean a big Monday, and you could always give me a follow on the good old cesspool of Twitter, or check me out on Instagram where I'm straight flexing, or even on TikTok now. Instagram and Twitter, it's at Zach Gelb, Z-A-C-H-G-E-L-B. TikTok is the Zach Gelb Show. And also, you can see Sam Thurvin dancing on the TikTok account for the Zach Gelb Show. Yes, we put that video out, and many, many more as well. All righty, a lot to get into from what was a crazy weekend. I got back into New York this morning. I landed right at 7 a.m. Eastern time, bolted to my apartment, caught about like 3 hours of sleep, and then made my way to the 345 Hudson Street studios to do this show. So much to unpack. First off, big thanks to Netflix. The environment out there and the hospitality out there in Las Vegas was second to none. They did a phenomenal job putting on that card and putting on that fight and taking care of us. So we really do appreciate them. And good to be back in New York City because after, 4 days of Las Vegas, I need to leave. All right. I can't be doing 10 days in Las Vegas like we did for the Super Bowl. 2 years ago, or being in New Orleans for 10 days. It's just too much on the body. It takes too much of a toll. But what an event between Canelo and Crawford. Congratulations to Crawford for getting the victory. I didn't even think it was really close. Everyone in Las Vegas told me Canelo was going to win. Canelo was going to win. And when I was walking into the fight, how about this, by the way? I didn't tell this to Sampton. I didn't tell this to Stu. I did say it yesterday on Sunday Morning Football. But I'm sure Samter was sleeping. I'm sure Stu was doing whatever Stu does, so they weren't even probably listening. I was walking into the fight, and you know who I walked in with? You want to take a guess? This is a mega star. When I was walking into Canelo Crawford, like I was in the building, and then I was going to the section that I was supposed to go, and I got caught walking in line with this person, and we had about a 30-second conversation. You want to give a guess here, Stu, or do you know who it is?
I have no idea.
Big star. Big celebrity. Very famous.
Jake Paul.
You both know him. It is not Jake Paul. Solid guess, though. But this person isn't even close to the same level of Jake Paul. Like, this person is 10 times more popular than Jake Paul, and Jake Paul is pretty popular. Had a big show. That is a hint I will give. Big show, very funny. Big show, very funny. You want to take a guess here, Samter? This is actually, I'm a huge fan of this person, but I think this is more so a Samter era type of person rather than a Stu era or a Zach Gelb era, but I was a huge fan of this person growing up as a kid.
Man, Ben Stiller.
Nope. Dave Chappelle.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Dave Chappelle. I couldn't believe it.
I'm Rick James.
Oh. You got to be careful.
I didn't say
In Vegas, you had a shoddy comment.
Shady,
sorry. That I thought you said something that rhymes with hitty. And there, I thought you were pretty close. I guess you could say bitch, but
I can say,
I just
first
did.
of all, I can say that word. Second of all, I just said B.
Yeah.
You say effing, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's different. I don't say anything that comes
just
close
said
to
B.
truck.
I said B on a word that I could have said anyway.
So anyway, Dave Chappelle was so cool. I have not been in awe of someone in a long time because we get spoiled when we do a job like this and the people we get to meet. I was in awe when I was walking with Dave Chappelle into the same area where we were for the fight. So that was pretty damn cool. Also, how about Saturday in college football? Holy smokes. That was an are you bleeping kidding me? I'm not even going there today, Samter. That was an are you trucking kidding me type of weekend in college football. I could have just stopped after what Haynes King did up against Clemson. I really could have. And then you had that wild back and forth affair between Tennessee and Georgia pulls a rabbit out of the hat. And then Stu, oh boy, it was a bad weekend for Stu. Now, I have the Chargers laying 3.5 tonight, so I really need the Chargers to win. But, Stu, you're deserving of a Raiders victory. You're deserving of a Raiders 2-0 start because Stu's Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Right out of the gate, when they blocked the punt and scored a touchdown, I go, all right, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a lucky night. It's going to be a good night to be the Irish. And then as the game did go on, you want to talk about a heavyweight fight. That was a heavyweight fight between Notre Dame and A&M, slugging, going back and forth. Then Notre Dame scores a touchdown. You're feeling pretty good, Stu. You're thinking you're going to win. And then Marcel Reed walks right down the field. And, of course, they have to rip your heart out on a 4th down play. And therefore, A&M does win the game, and Notre Dame does lose the game. Now, can I just have a safe space here with you, Stu, for a second?
Sure.
What did you think about the officiating on that last play? Because it was a clear hold.
It was, but don't give up 41 points. That's my answer to all that. And I saw it all on Twitter all Saturday night and Sunday morning, and I can't get mad at one call or even the botch snap. I can't on the extra point. Mm-hmm. I can't. It's on the defense.
So when Stu and I were working in that Jersey affiliate on 920 AM The Jersey, when I was Stu's boss, and I didn't even know Stu was one of my employees, the coach at Rutgers, who we did a lot of work with, was Chris Hash. Chris Hash is now your defensive coordinator. I go, that's a good spot, right? Like, good for Chris Hash. He lands at Notre Dame. It helps us out. I've been texting with him here and there. He'll come on the show at some point. Not when you perform like that. Oh, my goodness gracious. So that was Saturday in college football. Some other things that we'll get to throughout the duration of the show, like LSU, Brian Kelly, who I'm actually going to defend today. And, yeah, I liked how Brian Kelly handled things after the game. And what a disgrace, by the way, DJ Lagway is. 5 interceptions. Come on. Another hyped up Florida quarterback that Hickey takes the bait on that is overrated. But that was just right. Saturday, college football in the fight. Then how about Sunday? I went to Circa on Sunday. I parked my fat ass in the pool from the opening game, which was 1 o'clock Eastern, so 10 o'clock here on the West Coast. And I didn't leave that pool area until halftime of the Sunday night game. So I thought I was getting a little red. I don't think I'm very red today. You know, maybe like a little bit of red. My chest looked very tan this morning. I will say so myself, not to give you that sexy visual. You know, you got to pay for that on onlystu.com or onlysamter.com. But the football was awesome. The leverage play that did happen, Broncos and Colts, we'll get into that later. I had Colts +1 in Las Vegas. I was very happy with that. The Giants-Cowboys back and forth affair was wild, but where we got to start the show, it's always funny how this thing, you know, how this works out. There's nothing funny about Joe Burrow getting hurt, to be clear. But all offseason long, what do we say about the Bengals? They got to start the year off 2-0, right? Like, they got to get off to a hot start. The ironic part is the Cincinnati Bengals are now 2-0, and it feels like their season is over. Now, week 1, they weren't that impressive up against the Cleveland Browns. Week 2, Joe Burrow leaves the game with an injury. And I guess since they're so cheap in Cincinnati, you know, with that organization, can you get the guy a damn cart? Like, what is going on there? The guy has a foot or ankle injury, as it was being told at the time. We found out now it's turf toe and he needs surgery for it. And he's going to be out a bare minimum of 12 weeks. And right on cue, I'm watching this on ESPN right now. They have 2 guys carrying him off. That's your star quarterback. That's the guy you just made a big investment to. Get a damn cart. Every other team gets a damn cart, but the cheap Cincinnati Bengals? Maybe start calling them the Bungles. Jeez, what the heck is going on there? Yeah, that's real smart. Guy has a foot or a toe injury, whatever it was, an ankle injury. We had no clue what it was at the time. And he's going to get helped off walking into, like, all right, you get helped off the field, that's one thing. It's a pride thing. Once you get, you know, off the field and no one's really watching, even though they have cameras everywhere, get the guy a damn cart. It's unbelievable. But the Bengals, they somehow win yesterday. Brian Thomas Jr. can't catch a cold. You have Trevor Lawrence fighting with Liam Cohen. But the Bengals end up finding a way with Jake Browning on, I guess that was an air push play. At first, when I was watching it from the pool, I'm like, oh, wow, Jake Browning just went over the top, and then he got pushed. But he ended up getting a touchdown, and the Bengals ended up winning. But if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan today, don't you feel like your season's over? Because 12 weeks from now, and it's 12 to 15 weeks that he could be out. If he gets back exactly 12 weeks from now, it'll be for the Baltimore Ravens game on December 14th. Until then, the Bengals have to go up against the Minnesota Vikings, who, by the way, J.J. McCarthy hurt his ankle last night. And now it was announced today that J.J. McCarthy's not going to play next week. So next week, we get Jake Browning up against Carson Wentz. Ooh la la. What a great 1 p.m. Eastern time game on CBS. But for the Bengals, it's at Minnesota, at Denver, Detroit, at Green Bay, Steelers, Jets, Bears, bye week, at the Steelers, New England, and then hopefully you get Burrow back by Baltimore. So Jake Browning, who I think is a good backup quarterback, we'll see what he looks like over this extended period of time. If you could just get it serviceable, and then Joe Burrow could come back and be back for that Ravens game, that means that he would be back, or excuse me, it goes Ravens, Buffalo, and then the Ravens. Because obviously they're in the AFC North, so they played the Ravens twice. So he wouldn't be back for the December 14th game. So if he comes back for that Ravens game, it'd be Ravens at Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland. Those would be 3 manageable games, 3 games you should win, and then the Ravens game, obviously you're not expected to win. But if you could just keep the ship from sinking, then you give the Bengals a chance. And that's if Joe Burrow's even able to come back. It's not a given if he's even able to come back for December 14th. So, Stu, entertain me here for a second. Just go win-loss.
Okay.
And let's go under the assumption that they don't trade for Kirk Cousins. I do not think that the Cincinnati Bengals, at first when I saw Joe Burrow went down and I didn't know the extent of the injury and they were saying, oh, it looked really bad, I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, why wouldn't they just go on out there and trade for Kirk Cousins? You put Kirk Cousins with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, right? You got Trey Hendrickson on the defensive side of the ball. That seemed like a good spot for Kirk Cousins. I would feel good if Kirk Cousins did wind up getting traded and wound up getting traded to the Bengals. I just don't think Zach Taylor's going to do it. They will probably make an acquisition, and I also don't think the Bengals will have to pay whatever they have to pay on Kirk Cousins' contract, to be clear. But I kind of look at the Cincinnati Bengals now. They're going to add another quarterback. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe Jameis Winston. That could be a thought. Maybe Jameis Winston gets traded from the Giants since he's the third-string quarterback, and Jameis Winston gets traded from the Giants to the Bengals. That's like the type of guy they're going to bring in. I don't think they're making a big move to go trade for Kirk Cousins, who, right, is a legitimate NFL starter, has been a legitimate NFL starter, fringe top 10 guy, nowhere close to being that anymore. But I don't think they're going to do it because I really do believe that they think that Jake Browning is obviously more than serviceable. But entertain me here, Stu, for right now. Let's assume that it's going to be Jake Browning until Joe Burrow comes back, and let's assume that Joe Burrow can come back for December 14th, which is not a lock for him to come back by then. Just give me win-loss with this team already being 2-0. At Minnesota next week, J.J. McCarthy out, Carson Wentz in.
I think Browning's better than Wentz, so I will say win.
Ooh, so 3-0. At Denver the following week.
Loss.
Detroit, week 5.
Loss.
At Green Bay. Oh, and by the way, no, never mind. Sorry about that. At Green Bay.
Loss.
Okay. Steelers. Short week Thursday night in Cincinnati.
They'll win that game.
Ooh. Okay. Jets, week 8.
Win.
Wow, that's 5 wins. 5 wins right there through 8 weeks of the season, and you only had Joe Burrow for 1 full game. Chicago, week 9.
I mean, they have not looked good. I'll say the Bears win that one, though.
At Pittsburgh.
They'll split with Pittsburgh, so they'll lose that second one.
New England on the 23rd.
I'll say win.
Wow. At Baltimore.
Loss.
Thanksgiving.
Loss.
At Buffalo.
Loss.
Okay. So that would put them in line for 6 wins right there. That would be 6 wins. I don't think Stu was unfair with anything. And the Bears game, you said the Bears were going to win, right?
Yes.
So that could be a
easily
swing.
Yeah.
So if you could just get to 6 wins, let's just say, and then Burrow comes back, and there's 4 games remaining in the season, you got a chance. Doesn't mean you're going to get in, but you got a chance. And that's what Jake Browning needs to do. He just has to give them a chance, and you got to hope that Joe Burrow is on the earlier part of the 12 weeks rather than the later part of the potential 15 weeks. So that's the Bengals right there. And then we get to the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't say I'm shocked that they lost the game. But the thing that concerns me with Kansas City, it's not the fact that they're 0-2. Because I've been pretty clear here. Even if they start 0-2, it doesn't mean they're dead. It doesn't mean they still can't get out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean they can't still be a wild card team. It doesn't mean that they still can't win the AFC West. But I said this going into the game yesterday. Especially now, even though the Broncos, they messed that up at the end of the game, so they're 1-1. So they don't help themselves out. They could have got out to a 2-0 head start. One of the teams between the Chargers and the Raiders, barring a tie, are going to be 2-0 after tonight. You got to find a way, if you're one of these AFC West teams, to run as fast as you can right out of the gate. Whether it's the Broncos, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Raiders. Because eventually the Chiefs will get right. But the question becomes, how long is it going to take them to get right? And I do think Kansas City will go to New Jersey this weekend, or it's a Sunday night game. And I do think that they will beat the New York Giants. But then after that, they play Baltimore. Then after that, okay, you don't have a tough game, but it's at Jacksonville. And then you play the Lions. Then you play the Raiders. Then you got the Commanders. Then you got Buffalo. Like, the first 9 weeks of the season are not easy for Kansas City. But the thing that is concerning for me with Kansas City, last week, what was the storyline? It was Drew Tranquill and Chris Jones fighting at the end of the game, Justin Herbert having his moment, Kelsey not looking all that hot, and, having the exchange with Xavier Worthy that resulted in Worthy getting hurt. And this week, Travis Kelsey drops a ball, and it goes right in the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. And that was a major play for where the Chiefs were on the verge of scoring a touchdown. And then afterwards, you have Chris Jones hovering over Jalen Hurts. I think that was a real video. And he said, what are you celebrating? You only had 100 yards. And Jalen Hurts like, I won the game. So there's a lot going on with Kansas City right now. And I still believe that they'll be in the playoffs bare minimum. But maybe some of this stuff this offseason, maybe it was fair with Kansas City. And not only that, I will say this too, the mental toughness of this team is not in a good spot right now. And that's the most concerning part. It wasn't like Saquon popped off in the game. It wasn't like the Eagles just killed you on the ground. They had 34 carries for 122 yards. And then Jalen Hurts was 15 to 22 for 101 yards. Like, Stu, if I went to you before the game and I just said Jalen Hurts would only have 100 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and the Eagles would have 34 carries for 122 yards on the ground, but they would score 2 touchdowns. So those are 2 touchdowns you know that they scored. You don't know anything else that happened in the game. You would think, right, Kansas City would have won that game.
I would have picked the Chiefs in that case, yes.
and that's the thing. It's not even like the Eagles were at the Eagles. They weren't, and it was still good enough to beat Kansas City. So for the Chiefs moving forward, this is what's going to happen. They'll beat the Giants. Then it's a big test spot to show that you're back to get to 2-2. If they beat the Ravens, then the Chiefs are back. But right now, I know the Ravens, they blew that game in week 1, and then, week 2, they had an easy game. So, you'll move past Cleveland quickly. But that game coming up at the end of September, assuming the Chiefs beat the Giants, up against the Ravens, that's going to be massive. And that's a 4:25 p.m. Eastern game on CBS. So let's just do this. It does feel like the Bengals have missed their window, right? They were in that Super Bowl, and ever since they lost that Super Bowl where they couldn't block Aaron Donald, where they had Jamar Chase wide open, they make the AFC Championship game the next year. Then they haven't made the playoffs since. And then you look at Kansas City. They are showing signs of being vulnerable, where they've been vulnerable the last 3 years. They still find the way to make the Super Bowl and win 2 of them. But this year, it does feel a little bit different than the past 3. So I'll just ask you this question. Who is a team that needs to break through this year? Not next year, not 2 years from now. A team that you look at and you say, okay, they could win the Super Bowl this year, and they better take advantage of it if the Chiefs are going to look like this and the NFL is wide open. My team's the Buffalo Bills, and it's easy. And there's no bigger fan of the Chiefs' struggles right now than the Buffalo Bills. Because if the Bills see the Chiefs in the playoffs, all the pressure is on Buffalo. But if the Chiefs miss the playoffs, then how did the Bills not get to the Super Bowl? Because that's been their kryptonite the last few years that prevented Josh Allen from getting to a Super Bowl and winning a Lombardi trophy. Stu, who's your team that needs to break through this year and get the job done?
Mine are actually in the NFC, and it's the Detroit Lions. I know we still have the Eagles in the NFC. They've looked, I guess, okay. 2 wins, first 2 games against 2 good teams. But I just look at the Lions, and you have Jared Goff there. I know they lost their coordinators, but you have all those playmakers. You have Aiden Hutchinson back from his injury towards the end of last year. I think this is the year that they need to win it, or I think it might come to a point where they're not going to win it.
And 5 passing touchdowns yesterday for Jared Goff. And oh boy, Ben Johnson, how did you like that? Oh boy, the coaching ick. I'm going to start using that because Mike McDaniel got the coaching ick with disaster. Ben Johnson coaching ick, he's 0-2. And Benny boy, you seemed a little bit different after the game yesterday. Usually you're arrogant. Usually you're obnoxious. Usually you're boisterous. You were like a scared little puppy dog after the game yesterday, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Oh, I love rooting against Mike McDaniel. I love rooting against Ben Johnson. I was sitting there at the pool in Las Vegas. Obviously, I'm rooting for my Patriots, and we were lucky to win. But I'm really rooting against Mike McDaniel. And then the Lions-Bears game, for someone that doesn't really have a dog in a fight, you would have thought I was a Lions super fan. You would have thought I was a Lions sycophant. All righty, Samter, who's your team that really needs to break through this year?
To me, it's got to be the Ravens. Last year, it felt like the year for them after adding Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. They feel like, I know they lost that first game, but they were in control for most of that game until the last, half of the fourth quarter when the Bills just came on. The Ravens, as long as they can perform in the playoffs, to me are the most talented team in the AFC from top to bottom. And to me, I think that they're probably the team to beat as long as they can actually do what they need to do in the postseason. And I think at this point, after 2 MVPs and almost a third for Lamar, it's time.
I just slid over there to the left. Did I slide the right direction there? No? How about now? Is that better?
A little bit.
On that split, do I have to go this far over to the right to get me in on the YouTube stream? It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout. We'll come on back after these short messages. When we do return, Santa said something about the Ravens. I'm not saying he called that a moral victory, but last week he was talking a little bit about some moral victories. We'll get into one team, one player, It was the moral victory Super Bowl last week, who didn't look all that hot yesterday. We'll get into that when we return to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. The NFL season is rolling. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, you could be eligible to get over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket subscription from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Budo Casino and Resort, Kansas. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Block and other restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer valid until September 29th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. You take a look back at the Steelers game yesterday. First half was fine. The second half, the Steelers got smacked in the mouth and they had no clue what hit them. Up against Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. And also, Caleb Johnson. What the heck are you doing? You touch the football. It's a live football. And then the Seahawks get it right in the end zone. I still couldn't believe that. And at first I thought, okay, maybe he just didn't touch it. I was like so confused. I'm like, oh, no, he touched that football. So you look at the Steelers. You want to talk about a team that just regressed from week 1 to week 2? Oh, everyone was loving the Steelers last week. Oh, look at the Steelers. They beat the Jets. Oh, Aaron Rodgers looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers. You know what I sat back from that Steelers game and I said? I go, don't get me wrong. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. That was a revenge spot. He wanted to just destroy Woody Johnson and the New York Jets. And I thought even the personal motivation was a little bit silly, if I'm just being honest. But I look back at that defense. The Steelers defense had a lot of injuries last year. They were not a good defense. In the playoffs, they got destroyed by the Buffalo Bills. I get it. You could say, the Baltimore Ravens. I get it. You could say, it's like Lamar and company. But that defense didn't play well. Now, the offense didn't do much either in that playoff game. But with that being said, going into this year, and I remember we had these conversations on the show, I said, the Steelers have some star power defensively, but it's some older star power now. Like, you're relying on some guys that are older. And I know at the end of the game, right, Jalen Ramsey in week 1, he leveled Garrett Wilson. So people then were talking positively about the defense. That defense did not play well. They made Justin Fields look like a star. And Justin Fields is not a star. And that defense yesterday, they stunk. They were terrible. They couldn't stop the pass. They couldn't stop the run. They made Sam Darnold look like he was back in Minnesota. They made Kenneth Walker, who's a good back, look like he was back rolling at Michigan State. That defense got some problems. And you know what the Steelers defense, I think, is starting to become? Remember the Cowboys offensive line a few years ago where they were so great and they were so dominant for so many years? Then for a 2-3 year period stretch, people be like, oh, yeah, the Cowboys offensive line is just awesome. And as of late, the Cowboys offensive line the last 2-3 years has not been awesome. The Steelers defense, we're just programmed to say, oh, the Steelers defense is awesome. The Steelers defense is great because in their history, the Steelers have had some great defenses. But this Steelers defense, they got a lot to prove. They got a lot to work on. And I thought week 1, everyone was freaking out over the Steelers. Oh, look how great they are. Playoffs, here you go, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, now that could get calmed down a little bit. Because I didn't really think in week 1, even though Rodgers played great, that was like a heck of a performance that made me really believe that this version of the Steelers were different. The Steelers standard right now is the same Steelers standard it's been the last few years. You know, maybe you could overachieve in the regular season. You know, you'll win some games that probably you're not supposed to win. Mike Tomlin's a good enough coach, even though he's not a great coach, where they could get you to 9-10 wins, but then you get in the postseason, you lose. And I'm not even sitting here telling you that this team's going to go to the postseason. I didn't pick them to go to the postseason before the year started. So I thought the Steelers regressed in a big way, and I thought that was a moment where it will now lower the expectations for the Steelers. And then also, since we're touching on the Steelers, let's go back to the Jets. A week ago, and the Jet fan, it's amazing how they just take the cheese and the bait over and over and over again. You would have thought last week in a loss, let me remind you, in a loss, that the New York Jets won a Super Bowl. With the way that people were talking about Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn and right how competitive they were up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost the game. Now, Justin Fields looked really good in week 1, but hasn't that been the entire MO of Justin Fields in his career? Yeah, 1 week he'll look like Superman. 1 week he'll look like he'll be an all-pro. 1 week he'll look like he'll be a Hall of Famer. But throughout the duration of the season, Justin Fields is more disappointing and more below average than he is great. And there are moments like he did last week up against Pittsburgh where he puts it all together and he looks like a stud. But then there are more moments like what we saw up against the Bills the other day. And I know he got hurt late in the game, but this guy at one point was 3 of 11 for 27 yards. And he had 5 carries for 49 yards on the ground. So the rushing department, he was good. But the throwing department, he was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I got Pat Boyle last week. Oh, I told you the Jets are going to make the playoffs after a loss, Pat. Parading around with his prediction. Oh, Justin Fields, he can't throw the football. Where are you guys now? Yeah, Pat Boyle, where are you with your big doofy glasses now? Where are those glasses? Where are they? Yeah, those big doofy glasses that you were wearing. Where are they? After you were sending some of those videos. And Samter, we're not letting you off the hook. Samter last week, we debuted studs and duds. Samter gives a stud to Justin Fields in a losing effort. I'm going to be honest with you now, Samter. I didn't say this to you. I'll say it to you on the air. I was not happy with your stud last week. I was very disappointed. I thought that was a kiss-ass, suck-up spot. You know, you were the Jet fan. Oh, look, we lost. You treat it like it's a win. What the heck? You thought you guys won last week. You lost. And then in week 2, you play a legitimate football team, a big boy football team in the NFL, and you guys look like a bottom feeder of the NFL, which you are. So what do you have to say about your quarterback? What do you have to say about your team after last week? You were paraded around, just like after Arizona State, after they beat who? Northern Arizona? You paraded around your Arizona State jersey, and then they lost to Mississippi State. Last week, paraded around, Jets, Jets. And this week, you're silent. You're like, what is it, a church mouse? I'm Jewish, so I don't even know if I could use that term correctly. You were silent, absolutely silent today. No mention of the Jets were last week. Oh, how about the Jets in a loss? How about the Jets? I haven't heard a word from you. You speak. Speak.
I mean, my Cardinals are 2-0. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're... Kyler Murray is just blowing teams up left and right.
You have...
Let's go Cardinals, man. It's the only NFL team I ever worked for. Of course I love the Cardinals. That's my team. That's my quarterback.
You have more teams than Hugh Hefner had girlfriends, for crying out loud. Oh, my God. You could go... Psych Mampter. Playboy Mansion meme, please, of Samter with just teams. Like, make the girlfriends his teams, and then Samter, Hugh Hefner in a row. That's what I need from Psych Mampter on social media.
My arm around the Jets and the Cardinals with the
You are a whore.
Looking in the background.
A big, fat whore with the amount of teams that you root for. I can't keep up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've been a
We have
Cardinals
to give you a
fan
load management day.
I've been a Cardinals fan since I worked for them back in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking? Cardinals all the way.
Oh, my goodness
I don't know what
gracious.
you're talking about, man.
Nothing from you. No accountability, nothing. You're paraded around the studio last week over a Jets loss. And Justin Fields, he couldn't throw the football the other day. He couldn't throw the football, and nothing out of you. Nothing. Absolutely no. Aaron Glenn, that's a real leader. He knows how to handle the media. His defense has sucked through the first 2 weeks of the season, and that's a defensive-minded coach. But nothing about you. Nothing from you. No accountability.
Tyrod Taylor looked pretty decent.
Oh, my God. And also, let me just get to the Vikings real quickly, then we'll get to the update with Ack and do some college football, and we'll get to Stu's feelings on Notre Dame. Oh, man. I kind of like these shows. When I'm on very little sleep, right off the plane, right to the studio, you get an unfiltered version of Zach Gelb where I'm just looking to fight today, and I'm really looking to fight. Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. I watched that game in the sportsbook last night. Oh, boy. That was brutal. Now, I'm a J.J. fan. He was terrible the first 3 quarters up against the Bears. Fourth quarter came alive and somehow won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. The other night, you saw frustration from Justin Jefferson. I think it was Naylor late who was wide open, that they had him and he overthrew him. You just got to kind of Russell Wilson moonball that, but don't do Russell Wilson moonball up against the Dallas Cowboys in overtime and just give the game away. You got to get a little bit more loft on that football instead of throwing a line drive, but now J.J. McCarthy has an ankle injury. And this is my one concern with J.J. I think J.J. in Minnesota can work. I've been a believer of J.J. McCarthy with the Minnesota Vikings because I like Kevin O'Connell. I like Jordan Addison. I like Justin Jefferson, when Addison's on the field. I like T.J. Hawkinson. Jordan Mason's going to be a really good running back this year. I think by the end of the year, he'll be running back number 1 over Aaron Jones. And that defense is damn good. But that offensive line for Minnesota last night stunk. And J.J. McCarthy just made bad decisions. J.J. McCarthy's never played behind an offensive line like this. And that's not a good thing. Now, they need Darrisaw back, and when they get Darrisaw back, maybe, you would think that it would get better. But that offensive line was horrible last night. And then when J.J. had chances to make open throws, he just overthrew them. And he couldn't hit the receivers where they needed to get hit. But now he suffers an ankle injury, and that's a concern. Because last year was a meniscus that knocked him out for the entire season. And now he has an ankle injury, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for. So the injuries, to me, are a concern early on with J.J. McCarthy. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Let's take a timeout. Do you like the glasses of Pat Boyle, by the way? You started to chuckle during that.
No, well, because you're saying, where are the glasses now? And I'm like, they're probably on his face.
Yeah. I was wondering what line you were having there.
The glasses are a little ostentatious, maybe.
Well, I know you're on Twitter, but you don't really like Twitter. You have told me before, when Ack retires, his account will go away.
Yes.
He will disappear, and you'll never hear from Ack on social media.
Yes.
Pat does these videos, these overreaction Week 1 videos, where he's parading a celebration the Jets are going to make the playoffs, and the Jets lost Week 1.
Well, you got to hang your hat on something. You got to have your video to say, I said it first when they lost.
I guess Pat's always below the Mendoza line, so he just takes a little victory to try to make it seem like he's good.
He can only go up from here, so,
All righty, we'll take a break. We'll come on back. We'll get to the two most fraudulent teams in college football right now. I'll tell you who that is when we return. Update time. Let's get to a man whose glasses are very nice, and that is the Ack Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And this report is brought to you by Advantage Gold. As championships are built on defense, so are winning retirement portfolios. Call Advantage Gold today at 800-900-8000 and see how gold and silver can help protect and secure your retirement. The Bengals suffered a crushing blow yesterday, with Joe Burrow suffering another big injury, a toe that will require surgery and will sideline the Cincinnati quarterback for at least 3 months. So it'll be Jake Browning going up against Carson Wentz on Sunday, because J.J. McCarthy is out with a high ankle sprain, while center Ryan Kelly and Justin Cool are in concussion protocol, and Aaron Jones unlikely to play. Jaden Daniels is dealing with another knee injury, leaving his status for Sunday uncertain, while Jets quarterback Justin Fields is in concussion protocol, and the Bears lost corner Jalen Johnson to a groin injury. He is out indefinitely. Panthers guard Robert Hunt suffered a torn bicep. He'll have surgery, while center Austin Corbett is going to IR with a knee injury, but he could return. There are 2 games to close out Week 2, starting with the Bucs and Texans in Houston. The second game of the night features the AFC West rivals, the Chargers and Raiders. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's time to ask the pros. You, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsEd or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show and we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. All righty. The Zach Gelb tip line is working. If you ever have a tip, you hear something on the network, whether it's something that happens this show that you want to revisit or on other shows, the Zach Gelb tip line is maybe for other shows, and you find it entertaining enough that you think we should play it on this show, all you have to do is just drop me a tweet, drop me an Instagram, message at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. And the tip line is working because I got a little tip Sunday morning when I was on 3 hours of sleep, was as tired could be, going to Las Vegas studios to do our 10 a.m. Eastern time Sunday morning football show. And I was at the fight the night before. Little birdie, little tweet, told me that Shep did 2 raps over the weekend. One Friday into Saturday, the other Saturday into Sunday. But the one I was told to listen to was Saturday into Sunday, where Shep looked for a redemption moment because we were making fun of him last week for his first rap, which I still don't know how he was trying to end it. And I think Shep took that criticism personally. Now, I've not heard the audio yet. We will play it probably tomorrow. We got to locate it. We got to find it. Then we'll play it tomorrow. There's also too much football to do today. So I only spend about 30 more seconds on Shep. But a little birdie told me, Zach, you don't want to miss this audio. Now, I will say, sometimes listeners give me audio. They tell me it's great and it's not great. Other times they tell me it's great and it is great. So with the way that this person kind of hyped it up, I'm hoping that it is great. Maybe Shep had a moment of redemption, or maybe it was another awful lyric and awful bars by David Shepard. Maybe we should hook him up with a rapping coach. Maybe that would be nice. Eminem, what are you up to? How could you make Shep be great at rapping? Where's Khalifa? What are you doing? My man, Jay-Z. Try to get him away from Beyonce. Jay-Z, need you to spend a few minutes with us, Shep. Sammy Adams. Oh, he follows me on Twitter. Hey, Sammy Adams, can you help my guy Shep out?
No. We don't want to encourage this. We don't want to encourage him to keep going.
Can I just be honest?
Whether it's coaching him to get better. It's so bad. It's an insult to everything that music has ever created.
Now here's the thing. I think Shep is a kind of guy. Whether you're saying good things or bad things, he's going to keep on doing Shep. And I give Shep credit for that. But Santer, I think when you say his rapping is the worst thing ever, which it's tough to disagree with, I'll just be transparent. I think that motivates him to try to dig even deeper. And sometimes when you dig even deeper, you get moments of redemption and you shut people up. Or sometimes you dig the hole so deep that you're like 8 feet under. And I think when it comes to Shep's rapping game, right now we may need the Undertaker that we saw in Las Vegas to come on back and dig Shep up with what I've been told. To be fair, I'll have an open mind. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what this rap was like, but he was already 0 for 1. If he goes 0 for 2, you get one more chance, and then it's 3 strikes, you're out. Now, let's be real. We'll keep on sending him up to the plate if he keeps on giving us raps like this, and we'll keep on listening to him and playing him. So that's where we're at on that.
Listen, it's funny. It's good show content, but I worry that one of these days he's just going to try too hard to prove us wrong, and it's going to be really bad.
Okay. I don't know why you're sounding so nefarious, I believe is the right word there, on what Shep could potentially do, but we'll keep it moving and grooving right now. Notre Dame and Clemson, they're the 2 biggest frauds in college football through the first 3 weeks of the season. Shame on you, Clemson. But you know what? Not even shame on you, Clemson. Shame on me. Because since 2021, I've sat here, and I said Dabo Swinney is not fit to win a national championship anymore in this current structure of college football. He always talks poorly about NIL, and the transfer portal, he hasn't used that correctly. You need to adapt, right? It's either join or die. And sure, Clemson has won 2 ACC championships in the last 4 years, but Clemson's always supposed to win the ACC. To a credit to Dabo, that's the standard that's been created, and then it's to go compete and win a national championship. Clemson hasn't competed for a national championship in quite some time now for their standards. And elite programs have different standards than very good or just good programs. Like if Georgia Tech won the ACC this year, which they can, and they should actually be undefeated going into that Georgia game, then that's a parade moment for Georgia Tech. But it's different at Clemson. And I'm not surprised whatsoever. I picked Georgia Tech in the game. Haynes King is one of my favorite players in the country. He's as tough as nails. But shame on me for thinking that Dabo Swinney this year was going to go be a national championship contender again. Shame on me. And the first 3 weeks of the season, Clemson has been lost. Absolutely lost. And that loss up against Clemson, LSU, I know LSU has performed well, but Nussmeier's been hurt the entire season, I'm reading today. So Cade Klubnik can't get it going against LSU. And I know LSU's defense has been better than in previous years. Then you take a glance, they're playing Troy. If Troy had a pulse, Troy would have won that game. And then they lose to Georgia Tech. I'm sorry, folks. Dabo Swinney being a national championship contender at Clemson, those days are over. Those days are done. And I was the one that started the funeral. They had me speak first and give the obituary back in 2021, and Clemson fans, they ripped me. I got shredded alive on all those dopey message boards. But I ended up being right. And shame on me. 2022, I kept that same energy. 2023, I kept that same energy. 2024, I kept that same energy. And then this year, I changed it. Because with slim pickings, I didn't like a lot of these teams heading into the year in college football. And I said, you know what? Clemson's good, not great. Good, not great, could win a national championship, or at least get to a national championship. And Clemson's been the most disappointing team through the first 3 weeks of the college football season. And Cade Klubnik, He's starting to look like what Carson Beck looked like last year with Georgia, except it's worse. At least Georgia still won the SEC. I know he got hurt in that game. At least Georgia was in the SEC championship game. Georgia still made the college football playoff. They had a bye where they ended up losing to Notre Dame. But this is looking ugly. And don't tell me, Dabo, afterwards, oh, this team hasn't had any rat poison yet. Everyone loved you heading into this season. Isn't that rat poison? Where people talk you up so much, and he goes, oh, they just had to use suck poison. No. Before the year, a lot of people like me who never praised you recently, are praising you. And you guys have been god-awful this year. God-awful. And then Notre Dame, Stu. This got to be so disappointing. Because it's not as if you guys aren't competitive. You lose a heartbreaker to Miami. Should have ran the ball more with Jeremiah Love. You got to play better defense. The offense did their job, and you also had a special teams play in that game. Defense got to be better. And they lose to A&M, where they beat A&M last year in College Station, and then A&M comes to you this year, and they beat you in South Bend. Now, I will say this. It does look bleak for Notre Dame right now. I don't know how you could give this team the benefit of the doubt. I don't know how you could trust them. I don't know how you could believe in them. And I know people will tell me, oh, if Notre Dame wins out, they shouldn't make the college football playoff because the new criteria, strength of schedule, and it's a greater emphasis on that. And what is their strength of schedule really going to look like in these next 10 games? Nonsense, folks. I don't care what the criteria is. You can take the criteria and shove it up you know what. If Notre Dame is 10-2, Notre Dame is making the college football playoff. I don't care if they play garbage teams the rest of the way, and they only have right now one top 25 team, and it's USC, who's barely in the top 25, and quite frankly shouldn't even be in the top 25. So Notre Dame, they need to win out. Just like how last year after NIU, they needed to win out. Now they need to win out again. And if Marcus Freeman could do this again, my oh my. But if not, there's going to be some questions now about Marcus Freeman. Last year, everyone was off the bandwagon. They got back in. This year, their team was supposed to be better than last year. And through the first 2 weeks of the season, they are 0-2. So start playing defense and go win out. I'm not saying I should believe that it's going to happen, but there's still a road, there's still a way for Notre Dame to make the college football playoff. Coming on back with the news brief, it is the Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. What a crazy weekend. Crawford takes care of business up against Canelo. College football. You saw Texas A&M stun Stu and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You also saw Georgia come on back. And man, it was looking like it was going to be good old Rocky Top. And the Rocky Top became a miserable place. And all they could say was, uh-oh, Georgia did it again. And then Clemson going down to Georgia Tech. Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets. What a story they are, especially with Brent Key, who was their interim head coach. And over the last few years has been their head coach and has taken over for Jeff Collins. And he's done a phenomenal job there. And Georgia Tech fans should be thinking big. Arch Manning did not play well this weekend. DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions as LSU clearly got a victory up against Florida. So you had a lot cooking in college football. And in the NFL, Giants-Cowboys, what a wild back-and-forth game that was. Russell Wilson made a huge mistake at the end as it looked like we were heading to our first NFL tie of the year. And then the Cowboys, led by the leg of Aubrey, were able to hit another field goal, and they got the victory. So Dallas is 1-1. You had the Broncos looking like they were going to be 2-0. Then that leverage play happened at the end on the field goal kick, and then the Colts got another opportunity after a missed kick, and the Colts made it. So Daniel Jones is 2-0. The Broncos are 1-1. Chiefs lose, they're 0-2, and the Philadelphia Eagles are 2-0 to start off the season. And that was just a weekend of the NFL and college football. It was pretty clear, pretty cool. Then there's some unfortunate news, right? Joe Burrow with the turf toe injury and now needs surgery. He's going to be out bare minimum 12 weeks. So even though the Bengals start off 2-0, now they're going to be without their quarterback for a bare minimum of 12 weeks. And J.J. McCarthy, he didn't play well last night. I guess he got an ankle injury, and he's already going to be out for next week. And that's going to lead us to a little Jake Browning up against Carson Wentz. Isn't that a Perloff game if I've ever seen one? Perloff, we may need to reach out to Perloff and do picks with Perloff. I have 2 guests. I have high standards around here, right? I have 2 guests that I want to use for picks. And the Makeshift guys, by the way, give them credit, the Makeshift Project that joined us in Vegas, they were 3-0 in their picks. I'm 1-1. I need the Chargers to win tonight. If the Chargers win tonight, I will be 2-1 for week 2. I need the Chargers to win by 3.5. Not only win, I need to win by 3.5 up against Stu's Raiders. But I have 2 requests. Samter, now you have to be very busy. These are going to be 2 really tough asks. Well, we've got some of the biggest names in sports right on this show. Some of the biggest names. And Samter and Stu do a great job producing this extravaganza. I need you to do me a favor and get me 2 guests here. I don't know. This is going to be tough for you. It's going to be really tough for you. You and I are the best guest bookers on the network. I don't know if you could get these 2 names for me, though.
Is it going to be Pat Boyle and Shep?
Close. You're 50-50.
That I can do.
I need you to get me Shep one of these weeks.
Okay.
And Shep's going to have to freestyle either his picks or just give us a freestyle rap. Like, if Shep could give us 3 picks freestyling, I may start to at least give Shep a chance. I may start to at least say, in terms of rapping, I'll give him a chance. And maybe Shep could become a hot commodity in the radio host transfer portal when it comes to rapping. So that's one request. I don't want to do that this week. I want Perloff this week on Friday. That's the other huge mega name that we need to get. Because when I think Jake Browning and Carson Wentz, and who is going to be slobbering over that game between 2 backup quarterbacks, I think about Mr. Against the Grain and Andrew Perloff. So just make a note of it. I understand it's tough to get both those guys on. So I'm going to set a low bar for you, low expectations, and I want you to over-deliver and find a way. Forget about some of the legendary people we've had on this network, like Magic Johnson, right? And forget about Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce, all the big names that we've had on this network. Forget about those guys. Throw them away. Push them over. You get me Perloff and you get me Shep. Those are the 2 biggest guests that this network, the 2 biggest guests maybe that radio has ever even heard out of. I've interviewed some of the biggest names in sports. You get me Shep, you get me Perloff for picks. Samter, you could be in the running for the producer of the year at the Infinity Sports Network, which is a Bilotti trophy. I hear Bilotti is on that selection committee, and I hear Pete Bilotti will have to hand you a trophy. You know what?
If I booked LeBron, Brady, and Michael Jordan for a 3-person interview, I still wouldn't get that award.
Pales in comparison. Shep and Perloff. That would be big. Shep, Perloff, and Boyle. Now that's a big 3.
I do have to warn you though. I am not on Perloff's good side after apparently snubbing him at a New Jersey rest stop. I don't know if Perloff is even returning my calls.
Can I be honest?
I think he blocked me on social media.
Can I just be honest?
Yeah.
I don't think Perloff holds a grudge. I don't think he's petty. And knowing Perloff the way that I do, he probably has already forgotten about that rest stop exchange. All right? There is no way that he is actually remembering that entire exchange. I also kind of we got to workshop this. It's like a lame summer radio bit, but we could do it. And we'll have to wait. We're already planning about this upcoming summer. We just finished summer. We're already planning for this upcoming summer. I think there's something there with Pete Bilotti and awards that we could do. And we could have some fun and really create some controversy around here. Because imagine if we start giving out awards here at the network and someone doesn't win, and how just emotional and upset some people would be very hilarious to me. Alrighty, let's update you on some of the biggest stories in the world of sports. And with some audio, we get to a news brief right now. Stu, take it away.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, let's go to Brian Schottenheimer on getting his first win in dramatic fashion as the Cowboys are now 1-1.
Coming off the field, and then when Dak presented me, he and Jerry presented me with the game ball. That was pretty special for me. Cool way to win your first game. You'll remember it forever. But the words that Dak and the players said to me after the game is why it's so special. It's I expect the first of many. But I'll remember this one forever because of the fight of these guys, the way they didn't quit. They just kept believing.
I'll tell you, I don't know how good the Cowboys are going to be. I really don't think they're going to be that good of a team, if I'm just being clear. I thought that they could be an 8 or a 9-win team before the season started. That was before the Micah Parsons trade. And since they traded Micah Parsons, I thought 6 to 8 wins. it wasn't as if it was that encouraging with how they played up against the Giants. But Brian Schottenheimer, he's someone that's easy to root for. And I'm not that concerned about him as a head coach. It doesn't mean he's going to be great. But I thought that was a hire that it'd be 2 years at most, and then he would be fired. I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case with Shoddy. Let's go to Dak Prescott, the importance of him running more in football games.
Last year, not running, I think that just took a toll on honestly, that's why I got hurt, right? I wasn't running, and then all one game I decided to start running, and my body wasn't ready for it, I guess, and that's where that injury came from. And so just from this whole offseason recovery process, it was about getting back to who I am, my game, understanding how much the legs are a part of my game. And in a moment like that, to be able to bring them out and use them and seal the game was awesome. But I feel great. I'm healthy. Just thank God that I am, and stand in the moment and stand present.
And let's go from Dallas to Kansas City, where, hey, the Cowboys are happy after being 1-1. The Chiefs not so thrilled with being 0-2. Kansas City lost in Brazil in week 1 to the Chargers, and then yesterday wasn't even as if the Eagles played this awesome game, and Philly just owns the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Let's go to Patrick Mahomes and starting 0-2.
I think just after the first 2 weeks, you let games slip away. That we played two good football teams and made mistakes in big moments, stuff that we're not used to doing. I think we're coming together as a team, man. I mean, when you deal with adversity, it's about how you deal with it. And obviously, this isn't how we wanted to start, but how are we going to respond? So I'm excited for the next few weeks to see who wants to be challenged and how we can get back and really get after it.
I don't know what an early spread is between the Chiefs and the Giants. If I had to guess, Kansas City, they're on the road. I'm going to say 7.5 still. It could be north of that. But I would say right now the Chiefs are a 7.5-point favorite. Even if the Chiefs blow out the Giants this week, don't be the people that say, oh, the Chiefs are now back. Where they have a moment to show that they're back is actually 2 weeks from now, Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time up against the Ravens. Take care of business up against the Giants and then beat the Ravens. And if you're 2-2 to start this season, then I think all these questions and all the concerns about the Kansas City Chiefs would be right out the window. Let's hear from Andy Reid. He takes blame for this loss to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'll take full responsibility for that game. Probably stayed too aggressive on that, and that's my responsibility. I thought my guys played their tail off and played hard and aggressive football. They stuck together throughout the game, and they'll pay for us down the road as we continue to grow. I thought the fans were unbelievable. They were great. Everybody stayed and kept us going.
And let's keep it moving. Let's go to Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow is now going to be out for 12 weeks, and they lost Joe Burrow in the contest at the time we thought was an ankle or a toe injury. Here is Jamar Chase on losing his quarterback.
Yeah, man, it's like what I said earlier, beginning of the year. It's a roller coaster, man. Every game's going to be a roller coaster. Every week here on out, we got to focus and, execute, man. That's the only thing. Our quarterback got down. We got the next man up, and it's on from there.
So we'll see who else the Bengals do bring in. I do not think they're going to go out and make a trade for Kirk Cousins. It wouldn't surprise me if Cincinnati goes on out there and trades for a player like Jameis Winston. That would actually make a lot of sense. I'm not saying Kirk wouldn't, but I think they really do believe in Jake Browning. I think they believe Jake Browning is a very good backup quarterback that could start in some teams elsewhere. So for Jake Browning, the goal is this. You just got to weather the storm now. And you got to hope that Joe Burrow can come back 12 weeks from now, and it's not 15 weeks. And if he comes back 12 weeks from now, that would be December 14th up against the Ravens. And right now you are 2-0. That's the irony of this. The Bengals actually have a good record to start the season. So now Jake Browning just has to weather the storm against Minnesota, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, the Jets, Chicago, Pittsburgh, New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, and then you hope on December 14th when you go back up against Baltimore for the second time, your QB is out there. You could get to 6 wins or so right there. 6 wins. You would love 7, but if you get 6 wins, so 4 more from now until December 14th when Burrow hopefully can come back, you got a chance within 4 weeks left in the season against Baltimore, Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland to still make the playoffs. Let's go to J.J. McCarthy on the offense struggling again.
Obviously, very disappointing loss. A lot of things that immediately come to my mind of just what we can do to get better. Just want to give kudos to the defense. I thought they played absolutely outstanding. Will, absolutely played his butt off tonight. So we got to do a better job as an offense, just operating, playing, one play at a time and everyone executing their job, all 11 of us.
It's so wild as it happens. Because I saw that J.J. got beat up in the game. The offensive line was terrible. They made some bad decisions, but the offensive line was horrible. They're missing Christian Darrisaw. And JJ does his post-game press conference. You'd have no clue that there was an ankle injury. And now today, he's going to be out for their Week 3 contest up against the Bengals with an ankle injury. So wild how you could leave the game, us publicly not knowing anything was a problem, and you find out the next day, there is a problem. Let's hear from Dan Campbell. They got blown out in Week 1 up against the Green Bay Packers. They see an old friend in Ben Johnson, even though the fans were chanting, "Bleep you, Ben." They were not fans of Ben Johnson with his departure to the Bears. And Dan Campbell on bouncing back after the Week 1 loss and just smothering the Bears.
I've said this all along, man. This train keeps rolling, man. And we got plenty here, and it always is going to start with the players. We got players, we got playmakers, and they're made the right way. They're the right kind of guys, man. They know how to get in the ditch and just start digging, man. They don't worry about the other stuff. So, it's a good job.
And let's go to Aaron Rodgers. He's not worried about the offensive struggles. It was a second-half nightmare on offense and defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they got blown out by the Seattle Seahawks.
It's good for us. Last week, probably there were some people who were feeling pretty good because everybody outside the building is talking about how great we were on offense and 34 points. That's the league. You can't ride the highs or ride the lows. You gotta refocus every single week and be a professional. And it starts with the practice and the preparation.
That's a lot of quarterback talk. It really is. The Steelers at the end of the year, do I think they're going to be awful? No. Do I think they're going to be a team that you fear? No. They'll be what they've been the last few years. They could be in the postseason. They could miss the postseason. If they do get in the postseason, no one's thinking that they're going to win a playoff game. Here's TJ Watt on the defensive struggles.
I don't know, man. We're going to have to look at it and break it down. Clearly, it's the same issues are rearing their head from last week. And in the NFL, you don't have time to go back after each and every game and make the adjustments. You need to make the adjustments before they happen, and if they happen in game, before they're allowed to continue to snowball like they did today and like they did last week. So back to the drawing board.
It even goes back to last season. There were problems with the Steelers' defense last season, and I think just because we're accustomed to, the Steelers always have a great defense, that people don't acknowledge and actually talk about those defensive problems. And through the first 2 weeks, the Steelers defensively, they have been horrific. So I don't think that this is something that you just snap your finger and you fix. There are legitimate problems with the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And it seems like just from that clip by TJ Watt that they don't have any answers on how to fix them right now. And that's a big-time concern where you hear TJ Watt sounding that lifeless and that out of answers when it comes to the state of their defense right now. And if that defense doesn't turn around, any goals that the Steelers have this year will not be accomplished, because they need that defense to be back to being how the Steelers defense should be. It's kind of like the Cowboys offensive line years ago, where people were just used to saying, the Cowboys have a great offensive line. And then you started to realize when you watch the game, the Cowboys offensive line isn't as elite and isn't as great as we once thought it was. That's Steelers defense right now. They made Justin Fields look like Superman last week. And Justin Fields did crap jack up against the Buffalo Bills. He didn't look like he belonged in the NFL up against the Buffalo Bills. And how many defensive issues did we talk about with Buffalo after week 1? And then Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker look like all-stars. And I get it. Kenneth Walker's a good player. Sam Darnold's a little bit overrated. But that Steelers defense, a lot of problems. And they need that defense to be a lot better, especially with some of the inconsistencies that you'll see on the offensive side of the ball. That's what the Steelers are going to be this year. They're going to be an inconsistent football team. Some weeks they'll look really good, and then other weeks they're going to look lost like they were in that second half up against Seattle. Let's go to Tua Tagovailoa. Did he throw Mike McDaniel under the bus? Let's listen up.
That was really frustrating. It was frustrating with the communication with the guys inside the huddle, and then what the personnel is, then the play for those guys. Do we have too many guys in? Why do we have another guy running in? Just the whole operation of that was not up to standard, was not up to par, and I got to do a better job with our guys in that sense.
What's that fall on? How does that fall on? What's the communication?
Well, we have until the 15-second mark until it cuts off with the communication with Mike. So depending on what the personnel is, depending on what we were trying to do there, if it was a wristband call or if it was a call it in the headset, there's a lot of things in that sense that play a role in if we're getting to the right things or if we're not getting to the right things. So that was sort of the mix-up of communication there.
He's blaming Mike McDaniel, but he took credit for the problem. Because in that first part of the answer, it sounds like, okay, I don't really know where you're going at, and then you say, okay, that's on me. And then afterwards, you get further into it, and you go, okay, there's still some ambiguous shots at his coach. Let's go to Ben Johnson. He got testy with reporters about questions regarding the blowout loss to the Detroit Lions.
Hey, Ben, do you believe Dan Campbell ran it up on you on that 4th and 4 going forward in the fourth
What's he supposed to do? It's 4th and goal. What do you
Well,
want
he
him
could
to
have
do?
kicked the field goal.
Yeah, he could have kicked the field goal. They don't kick field goals. They go for it there. So he was doing what he was supposed to do. That's what he does.
How demoralizing is this loss, considering you were coming back, you left for Chicago?
It's not demoralizing at all. It's not demoralizing at all. We got to play
stop.
better. Simple as that.
It's not demoralizing? Ben, you're supposed to be the savior to Caleb Williams. He had one good drive in week 1. Week 2, you guys weren't even competitive in the game. Caleb Williams, he's elusive. Times he looks like he's going to get sacked, and then he finds a way to get out of it and throw the ball downfield. But your offense has been rancid, and you're the offensive guru. And, the defense was horrible yesterday. It doesn't matter if you had Joe Montana or Tom Brady at quarterback, you wouldn't have won with the way your defense was playing. But your offense should have won the game in week 1. And they lost, and J.J. McCarthy was horrible for the first 3 quarters in week 1, ended up being the better quarterback in the 4th. So you could say, I know Ben Johnson, I almost call him Ben Ego, because that's what he's starting to remind me of. I know he's got a big ego. But Ben Johnson, I understand you're frustrated. You can admit that's demoralizing. It has to be. And finally, I'm usually critical of Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly and the LSU Tiger family, they got a victory up against LSU. Their defense, which has been crushed for years, is now actually a good defense. We saw what they did up against Cade Klubnik. We saw what they did up against DJ Lagway. They picked him off 5 times. And Brian Kelly, after a victory, when LSU is winning games, they're looking like they're a good team. I get it, their offense hasn't been great. Nussmeier's banged up with an injury. But Brian Kelly, right after a win, is asked about the offense and their struggles, and he wasn't happy with it.
I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
I don't think the question is out of line because LSU's offense needs to be better if they want to win a national championship, which, by the way, 3 coaches have done that since 2000. But I don't think Brian Kelly the last 3 years has got a lot of criticism, and deservedly so. Now he's winning football games, and people aren't happy how he's winning them because the offense doesn't look great. The defense looks great. That's been their biggest problem the last few years, and they got the defense fixed for now. But on the offensive side, I think they'll get it going. I do. But the problem that Brian Kelly has, where I'm in agreement with him on, is that you ask that question right away after a victory. I've been in press conferences before where you have to ask a difficult question. You have to ask a question that you know is critical of the coach. You got to wait a little bit. If that's a losing locker room, different story. You go right at it right away. That's the story of the game. But in a winning locker room, a winning press conference, that question needs to still be asked, but it could have been question 6, 7. Look what I did right there. Or maybe 8 or 9. It doesn't need to be 1, 2, 3. Brian Kelly did say that he's texted with the reporter and offered my apology to him for the way I handled the questioning. Coach, you don't need to apologize for anything. All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back. We'll talk about the officiating in the NFL.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
So more on J.J. McCarthy, ankle injury. Adam Schefter now says J.J. McCarthy is expected to be sidelined 2 to 4 weeks with the high ankle sprain. With McCarthy out, Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz is now in line to start. So not only do you get Carson Wentz up against Jake Browning, and that's coming up on Sunday, you then have the Vikings going across the pond for 2 games. They play back-to-back weeks. Pittsburgh, not in the U.S. on September 28th, and then the Browns, not in the U.S. on October 5th. And then they hit the bye week. And then coming out of the bye week, they have Philadelphia, and we'll see if J.J. McCarthy is back for that. But that would be 4 weeks. Bengals, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, bye week. So you're going to have, look at these quarterback matchups. McCarthy against Jake Browning. And then you're going, let's say you're not from the U.S., right? You're in London. You want to go see the Steelers and the Vikings. Oh, good matchup on paper. All right, you still get Aaron Rodgers, assuming he's healthy. And then you get Aaron Rodgers, Jake Browning. And then the next week, oh, let me check out some U.S. football, Vikings and Browns again. Joe Flacco, right at this stage of his career, probably still going to be on the field at that point for the Brownies. And you get Carson Wentz. Ay. So if you're not a American football fan, and let's say you're going there for the first time, who are the Steelers' big playmakers? Oh, you get DK Metcalf. All right, you get TJ Watt, even though that defense stinks right now. And obviously Aaron Rodgers is still there. Oh, it's a legendary quarterback. I still imagine that still pops there across the pond. And then for the Vikings, at least you get Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison will be back for that trip because he's out one more game, the first 3 games of the season, so that's Cincinnati. But my, oh my, man. When you have those injuries this early on in the season, especially the quarterback position, it does kind of move off of what you think that team could potentially be. And I was very high on the Vikings entering this season. All righty, let's get to some of the officiating in the NFL. Stu, I'll start you off with this. Let's go college first. At the end of the Notre Dame game, Marcel Reed, right, joins Gunnar Stockton, makes a huge 4th down play, great catch, all that stuff. I know for Georgia, they got the 2-point conversion. Then Tennessee misses the field goal. Then Georgia ends up winning the game in overtime. But for Notre Dame, that's a back-and-forth affair. Marcel Reed gets that touchdown. It ties it up on 4th down. And then the extra point wins the game. And they win the game, 41-40, I believe, was the final score. I didn't see it live in the moment. Like, I was watching the game, but I didn't notice what should have been a flag at first. Right, I'm at the fight, I'm watching the game, I'm doing a bunch of things. And then social media, right, they zoom in and you see everything. Sometimes there's ticky-tack things happen where people will zoom in and the losing fan base will be bitter. I don't understand how the officials don't call that. The Notre Dame player got dragged down and tackled. He got tackled. How isn't that an offensive holding penalty? What was your thoughts on the whole situation, you being a Notre Dame fan? Are you irate?
I'm more irate at the defense than the officiating. It was definitely the wrong call. It should have been a holding. I mean, he tackled him to the ground, but, I mean, I didn't even see it live either. I saw it on Twitter, 10, 15 minutes after the game. I was like, oh, yeah, that probably was a hold. But yeah, I can't blame it on the officials. I just can't. It's more on the defense for me.
Yeah, so I think there's 2 takes there, and it's kind of your take, where it should have been called. I think it's egregious it wasn't called. There's some things that are ticky-tacky that I won't freak out about and blame the officials, but that was egregious. But on the other hand, if you're a Notre Dame fan and that's what you need to win a game is a 4th down stop or a penalty get thrown out there that gives you an extra down so that it takes off the touchdown, it means that you just weren't good enough to win. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say the officiating cost them. It was a brutal no call. And they got a touchdown out of it. And it ended up losing, they lost the game right off that play. But your offense, and you got a special teams touchdown too, you score that many points, and you can't win when Notre Dame's defense is supposed to be really damn good this year. You know who they miss? They miss Xavier Watts big time. And look what that dude's doing early to start his NFL career. How he felt. I think he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. I said that at the time. I thought that was one of the great steals of the draft. I'm a huge fan of Xavier Watts, who 2 years ago won all these awards. Last year still had a great season. Didn't win any awards. Wasn't even finalist for it. That dude's just a ball hawk, and he's a great football player. So that's the Notre Dame side of it. Now let's go to the NFL. The leverage penalty. I'm at the pool yesterday in Las Vegas. I'm at Circa Resort. You got all the games on the TV. It's an awesome place to watch the game. You watch all the game. You couldn't miss any of the action. Now, I had Colts +1 was one of the 6 bets I made yesterday at Circa. And I took out $100. I wasn't going crazy. Ack was like, 6 bets that you just made. Ack, man, the guy in front of me that went to the teller, he put $12,000 down. Right in front of me. I was like, good Sunday morning to you.
Thanks for your deposit.
Yeah. I only put $100 down. And I ended up only losing $20, so I lost more than obviously I won.
Okay.
But you walked out only down 20 from a casino. I'm good.
Yeah.
I had an anytime touchdown parlay that would have won me some good money, and I hit 2 legs out of it. I needed Kyler Murray to get me a rushing touchdown, and obviously that didn't happen. So
how much would you have won there?
So I bet 20 there, and that would have won me $200, which would have been solid.
Okay.
I'm not getting rich over it.
All right.
But for solid money for what I was betting. So I had +1 ticket on the Colts. And ironically, in the pool that I was in, there was 8 Broncos fans right next to me. Right next to me. So the field goal goes up. They're all celebrating, and they're all going nuts. And I just see on the screen, flag. So I just said to them, guys, flag. They're like, what? Because they were as drunk could be. These guys, they were hammered. Like, obnoxious. It was so hot in Vegas, right? And they have concrete next to the pool, and these guys are resting their arms on the concrete, and they keep on splashing the water, and they were just being so obnoxious. So I looked at these guys. I go, there's a flag. They're like, I go, there's a flag. And they're like, they're still celebrating. And I go, there's a yellow handkerchief on the field. There's a little hanky, all right? Little handkerchief. That's what's on the field. And they go, oh. And then those guys' face, they were elated. And then I didn't see them for the rest of the day. The Broncos lost. They disappeared. So what happened was, as most people know right now, and that's weird, right on the screen they're showing this right now, is a 60-yard field goal attempt. It was wide right, no good. But then they threw a flag on the play, and it was for trying to create leverage. Now, there's so many. I'm looking at this right now. There's so many kicks that I see that look like that and how it's defended like that in the NFL. So it is ticky-tacky. But by the law of the rule, it's a right call. Now, I saw Gallo today, who's a big Broncos fan and does Gridiron Game Day. And Stu, right? You were pretty more critical of your team rather than the officials with Notre Dame.
Right.
Gallo was the same way. Except Gallo's faces on Gridiron Game Day, while that was going down in his Broncos loss, oh, they were priceless. Oh, they were priceless. So you have the Colts losing that game, the Colts winning that game, and the Broncos losing that game because of that leverage penalty. On a 60-yard kick, why are you even trying to jump up like that? I know, right, people can make 60-yard kicks like Aubrey made from 64. But that kicker for the Colts isn't Brandon Aubrey, for crying out loud. So I thought it was ticky-tacky, but I can't really disagree with the call, even though I don't like it, because they called it correctly with the way that is supposed to be called. And then yesterday was a bad day for the tush push. It was good for the Eagles. It worked. But everyone now is just crushing the tush push. This was Dean Blandino, Fox Sports. He hates the tush push.
I am done with the tush push, guys. It's a hard play to officiate like we've been talking about. So they either ruled progress or that Hurts was down. Really hard to see what's happening with the football. We're inside 2, so replay has looked at this, and they've determined that there was no fumble.
And then also you had Adam Schefter. He did go off on the tush push earlier this AM on the ESPN.
The biggest thing here to me is that this game was lost in March. This game was lost when the NFL owners refused to ban the tush push from happening. It wasn't lost yesterday. It was lost in March. And there might be a lot of games that the Eagles play that are lost in March because this play is unstoppable. It not only does the defense not know how to handle it, but even the officials don't even know how to handle it. You're seeing the Eagles linemen jump off sides every play, and nothing's called.
It's a false start.
So the officials have no idea. Defenses have no idea, and the Eagles get to do whatever they want on every single play in the tush push.
I have no problem with it because I see other teams run the tush push, and they can't run it. J.J. McCarthy tried to run it the other night. He fumbled the football. Josh Allen struggled with it in the playoffs last year. So if it's so easy and it's so unstoppable, why can't every team do it? Now, what I will say, what will transpire out of this, there is now a heightened awareness on what the Eagles get away with before the snap. Because there's a half second, maybe even a full second before that ball is snapped where the Eagles' offensive linemen are moving. Now, with how crowded it is and how cluttered it is, I think it's tough to see that. And it's tough to see that with the naked eye. But now, since everyone's bitching about the tush push, and you have people that are on social media highlighting the Eagles going early, which is illegal, I think you're going to see the Eagles get called for that now. I really do. I think you're going to see the Eagles get called for that a lot, especially, right, Kansas City loses. Big controversy. Why did the Chiefs lose? Now people are saying they lost because of the tush push. Nonsense. Travis Kelce, catch the ball. Don't lateral it to an Eagles player, for crying out loud. All right? Chiefs, it's not like the Eagles did great. Jalen Hurts only had 101 yards passing. Put up some more points, for crying out loud. But now people are going to look at that tush push and say, if the Eagles go early, they're going to be looking for now, the refs, that they'll throw the flag. And also, Josh Sweat yesterday in the Panthers-Cardinals game. The Panthers almost came back in that game. That would have been an all-time gag job by the Arizona Cardinals. Josh Sweat getting called for that, roughing the passer. I've said this before, folks. I don't know what is pass interference anymore. I don't know how to hit the quarterback anymore. I don't know how to hit a wide receiver. I don't know how to hit anyone anymore. But how they called that roughing the passer yesterday, there's sometimes I now know how it's going to get called. How that one was called, that was a flat-out disgrace. So those are my thoughts on the officials in college on Saturday and then what did happen on Sunday in the NFL. All righty, we'll take a break. We'll come on back. Let's get the latest update in. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, who protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Week 2 was a tough one for quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels has a sore knee, leaving his status uncertain for next week, while the Bengals and Vikings will both have their backups starting. Joe Burrow needs surgery on his injured toe and will miss at least 3 months. So Jake Browning will take his place after leading Cincinnati to victory yesterday, and the Vikings will have to start Carson Wentz with J.J. McCarthy down with a high ankle sprain. He could be out a couple of weeks. Minnesota has been hit hard by the injury bug as Ryan Kelly and left tackle Justin Kuhl are in concussion protocol. Aaron Jones unlikely to play because of a hamstring injury. The Jets' Justin Fields is also in concussion protocol, so Tyrod Taylor is getting ready to start. Bears Pro Bowl corner Jalen Johnson out indefinitely with a groin injury, while Panthers guard Robert Hunt suffered a torn bicep and will have surgery, while center Austin Corbett suffered a knee injury. He is headed to IR but could return. A pair of Monday night games to close out Week 2. The Bucs will take on the Texans after rallying for a victory last week. And Pete Carroll coming off a win in his Raider debut. His team will host the Chargers tonight. I'm Rich Apple.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Square. More than 4 million neighborhood businesses run on Square. To learn more, go to square.com or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood, Square. In the second game of tonight's Monday Night Football doubleheader, the Chargers visit the Raiders. Justin Herbert threw for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Geno Smith threw for 362 yards and 1 touchdown in their respective Week 1 wins. The Raiders obviously getting that victory up against my Patriots, and the Chargers obviously getting their victory in Brazil up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The winner will be in sole possession of first place in the AFC West, with the Broncos being 1-1, and then the Kansas City Chiefs with the big fat goose egg in that win column going to 0-2. Alrighty, I want to do this right now. In college football, we were told a lot about certain quarterbacks going into this year. There was a lot of buzz with Arch Manning. Arch Manning has looked lost through the first few weeks of his tenure as the full-time starting quarterback at Texas. DJ Lagway, Gators fans. The only reason why Billy Napier still has a job is, if you get rid of Billy Napier, you would have lost DJ Lagway. Well, now guess what? Billy Napier is still there. DJ Lagway is still there. DJ Lagway had 5 interceptions. Not just 1 or 2, right? We've seen quarterbacks throw 2 interceptions, still go win a game. You throw 5 interceptions now, you're not winning jack. Garrett Nussmeier, he hasn't been the reason why LSU is winning, and he's dealing with an injury right now. Cade Klubnik, he's Carson Beck of last year. And then Lenore Sellers gets hurt in the game, which, by the way, I told you guys on the air on Friday, that Vanderbilt, I was asked, Diego Pavia or Lenore Sellers, who would you rather have coming up on the field on Saturday when we did that this QB or that QB type of segment? And I said I'd rather have for the season Lenore Sellers. For this individual game, Diego Pavia. And I thought Vanderbilt was going to win that game, and they did. But Lenore Sellers got hurt. And you know what? I like Shane Beamer. I'm a big fan of Shane Beamer. Maybe it's just I don't know how you hit the quarterback anymore. I didn't think that was egregious in that game. It stinks that Lenore Sellers, so I like. It stinks that he got knocked out of the game, but I didn't think that was a criminal hit that was put on by the defensive player. But maybe I just don't know how anyone's supposed to hit the quarterback anymore. Because I also thought Josh Sweat did nothing wrong when he tackled Bryce Young. I thought he did nothing wrong. So let's do this, which college football quarterback play right now, it's average at best. Like, who's the best quarterback in the country? I could ask that question. I'll get 3 different answers. So right now, I think this is something we should learn. Whenever people hype up a quarterback draft class, all we were told was forget about this year's draft class, which was Cam Ward, right? He looks like he's going to be really damn good. And then we'll see who else emerges out of that. Jackson Dart, right? You got Shador Sanders. You got Tyler Shaw. Like, it's not a great draft class. But Cam Ward, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback bare minimum in this league. Not great, but very good. But all we were told about, wait till the next draft class. How great is this draft class looking? You know, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you're going to take another quarterback in the draft. Or if the Panthers, who are going to stink this year, if they're going to move on with Bryce Young after this year, who do you guys end up taking? Who's going to be that quarterback? So I'll go around the room here, Samter and Stu. We'll get you into the conversation. Who is the college football quarterback right now? I'm not even going to say who's the best. Right? Because going into the year, I remember saying, I'm going to probably go with Cade Klubnik. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's the highest ceiling. But after seeing what I saw last year, I felt like I could trust him the most. Yeah. 2 hands up on this one. Dead wrong. Dead wrong. Dead wrong on my take on Cade Klubnik going into the season. So not who's the best. Because I don't know if any of these quarterbacks we could confidently say are the best quarterback in college football right now. But who's the quarterback that you could rely on the most and you could trust the most in college football right now? Stu, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Iowa State's Rocco Beck, and I think the reason I'm going with him, first of all, he's a junior. He's a third-year starter. So far this year, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. They're rising up the rankings. And even in previous years, like you look at his previous years before this season, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in 23, 25 in 9 in 2024. So he's not a guy that turns the ball over a lot, which is good. And again, like you said, not the best quarterback in college football, but just a guy who's reliable. And is it going to make mistakes? I'm going to go Rocco Beck.
I said that a few weeks ago that he could be a late first-round pick, I believe. That's a good one. Shame on me. I didn't even contemplate. I thought of 2 guys right away. And that's who I was going to pick between. I didn't even think of Rocco Beck, who I've been a huge fan of. Very good job there, Stu. That's good Zach Gelb Show checks and balances. If we ever need a good checks and balances for this segment, right there, Stu. Let's see what Samter does now. Who's your quarterback that you could trust the most in college football?
I mean, this might be a little bit surprising, but he's been so good. It's got to be Carson Beck.
Wow.
I mean, Carson Beck, who has a ring with Georgia, sort of, and who was expected to be a number 1 overall pick before falling flat. Like, we know he's talented. He just had a bad year last year. He looks great for Miami. And right now in that ACC, that looks absolutely awful with Clemson and everything else. I mean, they might run the table.
I didn't think of Carson Beck. And I want to praise him for what he's done so far this year. But I still can't fully trust him. And the reason why I say that, and I think they're going to be good this year, Miami. And they play Florida, Florida State, Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. I'm really curious if they do the next 2 games. They should be Florida. Florida State, I think, is going to be a really difficult matchup for them. I kind of lean Florida State right now. But the reason why I can't go Carson Beck is because this is who I think Carson Beck is. Like, we've seen Carson Beck go for long stretches of really good play. And then there are just some games where you're like, wow, I'm out on Carson Beck. He's late throwing the football, or he makes, dumb decisions in terms of football. Like that Alabama game last year, he was horrible to start, then got them back in the game, and then they lost because he was horrible to start. After you had Jalen Milroe right down the right sideline to Ryan Williams for that 75-yard touchdown. So for Beck, I think he's always been good. We want him to be great last year, and he clearly wasn't great last year. I think he's good right now. The question is, can he become great? Now, I'll get to mine here. And we're going to leave one guy off the list, and I feel bad leaving him off the list. John Mateer, I'm leaving off the list. I was debating between Haynes King and John Mateer. And it's funny, John Mateer right now is the Heisman favorite. He has 5 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Think about that. Now, he also has 4 rushing touchdowns, so you can't leave that out of the occasion. But Haynes King doesn't even have a passing touchdown yet this season. And he's still the guy that I trust the most. Now, injuries are a concern. That guy take a toll on his body, but he reminds me a little bit like Tebow, that he'll do whatever it takes to to go get a victory. It may not be the prettiest, but that dude's just a definition of grit. He's the toughest player. I think he's the best leader right now in college football. And he's had 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, 259 rushing yards. What Haynes King did up against Clemson, it wasn't like crazy, oh my goodness gracious. But the way that kid performs on a field, especially with his dad's going through with the cancer diagnosis, when he gets on the football field, that's his sanctuary. And that dude may not be the most talented. That dude may not be the best. And he's been in college football now for a long time, and he has ups and downs at A&M. But what he's done the last 2 years at Georgia Tech is special. And I just believe in the moxie and the leadership that kid has. So I'll go Haynes King. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll do some studs and duds next when we return in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. It is a Monday after what was a very busy week 2 in the NFL. We got 2 more games tonight, a little doubleheader in the National Football League. Will Stu's Raiders be in sole possession of first place in the AFC West after tonight? Wouldn't that be something? Chiefs 0-2. The Broncos 1-1. Chargers Raiders tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern time.
It's not good for you catching up on sleep, Zach.
I got no sleep Saturday into Sunday. Maybe 2.5, 3 hours max. I did get decent sleep last night. So I got to the airport. My plane took off at 11 p.m. Eastern time. 11 p.m. Pacific time. And I slept pretty much the entire flight. Maybe 20 minutes I didn't sleep. It was weird. My food senses were tingling. Because before the plane took off, I was knocked out cold. Then somehow I woke up in time to get my ginger ale and stroopwafel on the plane. I got to get a ginger. I don't know what it is. I become a ginger ale addict when I'm on the plane. Anywhere else, no. I'm on a plane, I need a ginger ale. And I, had that for 10, 15 minutes, did that. And then went right back to bed, and then I didn't wake up until the wheels hit the runway. So I was out pretty good. Then I got home, got off the plane at 7:05 a.m. Eastern time, got an Uber right to the apartment, was in bed by 8 o'clock. And then I probably slept to about 11:30-ish. So I'm pretty rested. But I know I'm going to crash at some point. You know what that means? I need Tampa Bay and Houston to be epic. If I get an epic Tampa Bay-Houston game at 7 p.m. Eastern time, then you get a little adrenaline, get a little blood flowing, you're feeling pretty good, and then maybe I'll make it through the entirety of Chargers and Raiders. You do anything special tonight for Chargers and Raiders, too? Your Raiders could be 2-0 after this one, or they could be 1-1, and the Chargers could be 2-0. Anything special for the 10 p.m. Eastern time kick?
Probably not. I'll be done eating by 10 o'clock, so I think it'll just be me, sitting on the couch watching and not falling asleep until, I guess, 1 o'clock or something close to that tonight.
Oh, Stu, we know what you are tending to usually do or what you're accused of.
That's right.
A little puff at night. Stu could be there with the big fat bag of Doritos with a little queso. That could be the case. Maybe a little late night brownie for Stu. And I'm talking about not the brownie to get you into that state, just like a regular brownie afterwards. I could see Stu with a big fat bowl of ice cream, a chocolate chip cookie, and a brownie. That's what I could see Stu Kovacs. By the way, I went to Cipriani's in Las Vegas. I wanted to go to Piero's. I had an 8:30 reservation. I then got tickets to the Sphere to see the Eagles. Oh, my God. 8 rows or so, right off the stage. It was great. Incredible. The Sphere, it's my 3rd time being there. My mind is blown every time I leave the Sphere. The only things I've ever put in my system at the Sphere has been alcohol. I only had one beer on Saturday night. The first time I went there, Sam and I, we crushed a few brews. There's no doubt we had a few drinks. The second time, I was on a bachelor party. We went for like the movie. So it's just a different experience. But I went to the Sphere on Saturday to see the Eagles, Friday to see the Eagles. Incredible. Really good. And I had one beer. I left there and like my brain was spinning in a good way. And I felt a little loopy because all those effects are just absolutely ridiculous. But Samter, I was supposed to go to one of our favorite restaurants, Piero's, but because I got my tickets late to the Sphere, they just didn't have a reservation that was earlier. I had an 8 p.m. reservation. That's no problem. Trying to get to Piero's at 5 in Las Vegas, that was a problem. So our guy Sully hooked me up at Cipriani's. I had a delicious salad to start. Then I got what did I get? Oh, what did I get? Oh, a Wagyu steak, which was phenomenal. A ribeye Wagyu. And then I got this rigatoni. I don't even know how to describe this. It was an off-menu item. It was called a Thanksgiving sauce. I don't know what it was. I texted Sully. I said, that pasta was crap. It auto-corrected. I meant crack. I typed crack. Since I don't do crack, it went to crap. So that's what I had at Cipriani's. I had one more thing for an appetizer. I can't remember what it was. Delicious drinks, too. And then dessert, they have this vanilla gelato. And then they give you, like, chocolate sauce to dump on it and some other toppings as well. That vanilla gelato was one of the greatest desserts. Simple, but one of the greatest desserts I've ever had. And the bread there, they had bread that gave birth to bread. It was absolutely delicious. I'm just trying to see with all the pictures that I took if I got everything covered. I feel like I'm missing one appetizer, and I got to scroll through all this stuff. Hold on. A lot of pictures at the fight. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I went to that Hall of Excellence, by the way, the Howie Denross Hall of Excellence.
It was, I was
How
amazed
sick
by
is that?
I mean, they had the bat that Babe Ruth used to call his home run.
All of Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings.
They had the first ever Air Jordans that he actually wore his rookie year when he first debuted them on the court. Like, those have to be the most expensive pair of shoes on this planet.
Yeah, and not only that, the coolest part was they give you like a little iPhone when you walk in, and then they have like Doc Emmerich, Jim Nance, Marv Albert. Yes!
They had Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah. And they just have them narrating everything.
And Stu, you'll appreciate this. They had a Pele jersey, a Maradona jersey, Messi, and Ronaldo as well. So we got some soccer there too.
All righty. So that was pretty cool. And I thought it was awesome, and I saw Howie there.
And all 7 of Tom Brady's rings.
Yeah, all 7. All 7 of them. Now, when I talked to Howie, I was like, what's security like?
That's what I said. It should be the next Ocean's 14 movie or something where it's like Danny Ocean and George Clooney and Brad Pitt trying to like break into it because it's so cool.
He told me you said that actually, and he goes, "Yeah, I wanted to hit Mike when he said that."
I don't want to jinx it. I'm just saying, like, it's such a cool place that like
so
this is where you want to be.
Howie's telling me this the way you just told me the story. He goes, "Mike," I said to Mike, "We got a camera there, got a camera there, and we have an armed guard." or they have a guard. I don't think the guard is armed, to be clear.
They had like 2 or 3 guards.
Yeah, they had a guard. They go, He said we don't need an armed guard because you're in a casino. You try to do something.
The
funny
iPhones
here,
were cool too. You
you'll
could
be out
just
in a second.
scan whatever thing you saw.
No QR code either. You scan the memorabilia. So Stu, let's say if you have a Maradona jersey or something like that. I'll go soccer so you actually pay attention to this segment. You just scan the jersey and then boom, pops up whatever soccer announcer. They have the whole thing narrated. I skipped the soccer part of it. I'm just being honest. I did the basketball. I did football. I did hockey. Did baseball. I skipped the soccer part.
Not to get too much in the weeds, but they also had the scoreboard, or the scorecard, the official scorecard from Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. So anyone who ever doubted that he actually scored 100, this showed that he scored 100. It was the official scorecard from the game.
888-710-4ISM. We'll do studs or duds just coming up in a second. We did the quarterbacks we trust the most in college football right now. Mine was Haynes King. Samter's was Carson Beck. And Stu went with Rocco Beck. A lot of Becks right there. Let's get Michael in Vegas next up on the show. Michael, what's cooking?
Hey, Zach. Sounds like you live in the high life. Trippiani's, the Sphere. Yeah, I live down here. Huge Raider fan.
Yeah.
We need this one tonight. But since I moved here, I've become a huge UNLV fan, and they're playing at Allegiant now. It's a really cool story, the whole story, because
they're on a bye week this week, but they're 3-0, so good for them.
Their old stadium was about an hour east of here in the middle of a sand pit, and it was just awful. Now they're playing at Allegiant Stadium. And anyways, a couple years ago, they had a guy named Jaden Mavieva, and he was incredible to watch. And he transferred to USC, and he had to split time last year, but now he's a full-time starter, and that's my QB for you. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to go pro, Zach.
Well, we'll see.
Anyways.
Yeah, Michael, appreciate the phone call. Thanks so much. Jaden Mavieva, he's had a great start to this season. USC's in the top 25. Who would have thought USC was going to be in the top 25? Let's see what he does in a few weeks up against Illinois, Michigan, and Notre Dame in that 3-game stretch. And after that, they play Nebraska, and later on in the season, they play Oregon. And I think USC is hot right now. Are they going to be hot at the season? I tend to believe they're not, but the quarterback is also very good. I can't say I trust him the most yet. I got to see him play up against some better competition. All right, it is Monday. Let's do some studs and duds right now.
On the Zach Gelb Show, we're looking for studs.
Back to pass. Bosa picked up. Deep shot. Jefferson. Yes!
But sometimes we have to tolerate the duds.
Mistake. Lamar takes the snap. Rolls to the right. Throws. Complete. No! He dropped it. Mark Andrews hit him in the head.
Now for the moment you've all been waiting for.
And here we go.
It's time for studs and duds.
Alrighty, I'll start it off with the toughest player in college football. I was just talking about him in the last segment. It was Haynes King. Let's hear his rushing touchdown, as that did help Georgia Tech up against Clemson in their victory.
Receivers in tight, 2 tight ends right. The snap. King runs it himself. He lowers his shoulder. He plows across, and he's in. Touchdown, Jackets.
I could have gone with Aiden Burr, the kicker, who had the game-winning field goal from 54 yards out. But that toughness, snap in and snap out, as Haynes King just were taking a lot of big hits, and the way he was doing whatever he wanted to do or whatever he could do to go get a victory, it's that grit, it's that level of leadership, it's that toughness that I'm looking for in my college football stud this week, so I give it to Haynes King.
Stud.
All righty. Well, let's go with Stu here. Stu, what do we got cooking today?
All right, so I'm going to go to Vanderbilt, and I'm going to go with their quarterback, Diego Pavia. Now, looking at that game, I was intrigued by it. Obviously, there's a slight bit of an asterisk, only because Lenore Sellers left that game with an injury. But winning 31-7 out South Carolina, he had 2 passing touchdowns. He was very good, in my opinion. And Clark Lee, the head coach, after the game, had some very nice things to say about his star quarterback.
It's the unseen things sometimes that make the difference, the quiet connections, the humility he comes to work with every day, the belief he has in himself and his teammates. You know, he threw a physical block on a reverse today that was like, I mean, it made the difference in the play. And, you know, when it's his teammates' turn to carry the ball, he's going to be out in front, playing physically to set a tone. And when your leaders do that, when your leaders play that way, it gives everyone else a license to play that way. So we believe in him. We think he's the best there is, you know. I'm happy for him to be having success.
So as Clark Lee mentioned, he had the 2 passing touchdowns and the big block on the reverse play. So that is why Diego Pavia is my stud.
Stud.
And his mom is going on a date, right, with Theo Vaughn. They made a bet before the game that if Diego Pavia got a victory, I guess Theo Vaughn would get a date with Diego Pavia's mother. Ooh la la. All righty, Samter, go ahead.
So I'm going off the beaten path. Everyone seems to always go quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with not a quarterback. I'm going to go with a running back.
This is a good one.
Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri. Missouri is 3-0. They're up to number 22 in the country. Third straight game over 100 yards. This game he had 22 carries, 250 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's got 462 yards and 5 touchdowns on the year. He's averaging 8.1 yards a carry. He averaged 11.4 yards a carry in the win against Louisiana, including this incredible 71-yard touchdown run.
They go right back to him. Why not? Couple of missed tackles. Ahmad Hardy is gone. Touchdown, Mizzou. 71-yard run. Ahmad Hardy.
So, I mean, obviously, you know, Missouri's not a team that we talk about a lot. Last year, Brady Cook was their big guy. So the fact that they're leaning on the running game right now and he's their stud in that SEC, which is so condensed, it's going to be really interesting to see how he pulls out.
Stud. NFL stud. Let's get to it. I could go Russell Wilson as my dud because it helped out the Cowboys, but I won't do that. I'll stay on the positive. Brandon Aubrey, how automatic he is from 60-plus is crazy. Let me hear the 64-yarder, which ended up getting the game to overtime, and then the game winner in the extra session.
64 for the tie. Snap, hold, 64, and sweet butter. But don't hurry to re-sign the kicker, whatever you do. Oh, man. 4 seconds left in overtime. Good operation. 46, the kick. Wins the game. Butter, 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 butter. Extra butter. Cowboys win in overtime. 40-37. Aren't you glad you paid attention to this game?
Wow. Unbelievable what Brandon Aubrey did in that contest. He made 4 field goals, and he accounted for 16 points for the Dallas Cowboys because he's also good on his extra points as well, all 4. Brandon Aubrey gets my NFL stud.
Stud.
All righty, Stu.
All right, so I will go with Jared Goff yesterday. Obviously, week 1 was not great for the Lions against the Packers, but he really made up for it yesterday going against his old offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. He had 5 touchdown passes. He threw for 334 yards, no interceptions, and he found his star receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 times, including this one in the fourth quarter.
4th and goal for the Lions from the 4. Goff takes the snap, fakes the give, rolls right, got a man wide open. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1, 2, 3 times today. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
So he had a big game. Obviously, there's a lot of big games coming up for the Lions, and as their window, Super Bowl window, continues to be open. So Jared Goff for week 2 in the NFL season is my stud.
Stud.
Samter, give us your stud.
All right, I'm going to go with your former quarterback who you threw to the trash pile, Mac Jones. Brock Purdy gets hurt. He fills in. And we all remember the whole story about how Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, but he was kind of forced to draft Trey Lance. Well, now he has Mac Jones. Mac Jones threw for 3 touchdowns, 279 yards, 26 of 39. Including 6 yards on the ground. Who knew that Mac Jones can run the ball? And then he had this great pass to Juwan Jennings for a touchdown.
McCaffrey to the left of Jones. Quick snap from the gun. Pressure coming. Throws. Wide open, Juwan Jennings. Open field. 25, 50. He's gone. 5. Touchdown! 49ers on 3rd down. It's 3rd and Juwan. 42-yard gain for a San Francisco touchdown.
Mac 10 to the rescue. What an absolute rope.
It just makes you wonder, depending on Purdy's injury, I know they gave him the money, but if Mac Jones plays well, I'm just saying, we've seen it before.
A little quarterback controversy.
Stud.
College football duds. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. 5 interceptions for DJ Lagway. And one of them was a pick 6. Listen up.
Lagway by his lonesome, takes the snap, looks left, quick fire, intercepted at the 43-yard line. Coming near side, it's a race to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Touchdown, Deshaun Spears, his second pick of the night, 59 yards. And the Tigers, with a pick six, make it 19-10. And Tiger Stadium is on fire.
Do I need to say anything more? Nope. Give him a dud.
Dud.
Stu?
All right, so I unfortunately have to go to my Notre Dame Fighting Irish and their loss to Texas A&M. I'm not going to blame the offense. I'm not going to blame C.J. Carr. He was good. The running game at least had a little bit of life, unlike against Miami that first game of the season. But I'm going to go to the defense. And, to allow Marcel Reed to throw for 360 yards, to allow 128 yards on the ground, big play after big play. I know they've lost a lot of players from last year's team that got to the national championship game, but I think maybe what the biggest loss might be was losing Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, and now it's
former Temple coach, too.
Yeah, that's right. And now it's Chris Ash, who used to
Looks
be the
like
Rutgers Trash Ash, who used to be the Rutgers coach and has had many jobs in between. But this was the unfortunate for me, the last play, the touchdown that basically sealed the Irish's fate on Saturday night.
4th and goal from the 11-yard line. Down 6, 40-34. Concepcion in motion from right to left. The shotgun snap, Marcel. Throws, end zone, caught!
Touchdown!
Touchdown! Nate Forkinger! We're tied! An extra point to come!
Yeah, so Chris Ash is definitely my dud.
Dud.
Samter?
I'm going to go with Arch Manning. I mean, he's been terrible for his first 3 games. He completed 44% of his passes against UTEP. And this play right here, after they go 3 and out right before the half, the fans in Texas, you can hear them in the background, were not happy.
That one could have been picked off, deflected at the line of scrimmage. And this offense will head back to the bench, and Texas will have to punt it away.
Honeymoon over.
And you see hands up in the face. It's a quick, easy throw.
When your home fans are booing you against UTEP, Arch Manning's in trouble.
Dud.
Travis Kelce. Is he too distracted? Taylor Swift. Is she doing too much before the games? I saw that, what was that? They had like a rolling, I don't even know what, a blockade. They used to just put Taylor Swift in a box and just have her go through the stadium so people didn't see her. They literally had a door that just moved from left to right so no one could see her while she was making her way into Arrowhead Stadium. Did you even know that, Stu?
I didn't know she's even there, and I watched that whole game.
Yeah?
I missed it. Wow.
That's what I saw on the internet, so if I saw it on the internet, it must be true, and it's also anti-Taylor Swift, so therefore Stu's not going to agree with it. But her fiance, maybe a little bit too distracted these days. Travis Kelce dropped the ball that should have been caught, and it went into the hands of the other team.
Blitz, Mahomes over the middle, Kelce. Oh, it's picked off. It's Makuba who's got it, and room to run. One man to beat, and he's taken out. Andrew Makuba, the rookie from Texas, on the bounce off of Kelce, and a huge play for the Eagles.
Patrick makes a great throw. Travis just a little late getting his head around. Perfect place to throw the ball if you're Patrick, and Makuba, Johnny on the spot.
Uh-oh. Are there going to be some lyrics being written by Taylor Swift to try to go after her fiance, to try to get him going? We'll have to wait and see, but Travis Kelce is my NFL dud.
Dud.
I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy, and I guess I can go with all of us from having to watch that game last night. It was not a great Sunday Night Football game, but J.J. McCarthy was not good, had the 2 interceptions, 11 of 21 passing. He's been bad for 7 of 8 quarters, and then, of course, he had this interception late in the game.
McCarthy steps up, going deep down the field into a crowd, and it is intercepted, picked off by the Falcons. Xavier Watts, the 3rd rounder out of Notre Dame, has his first NFL pick, and that'll do it. The Falcons take over with 2:35 to go and a 22-6 lead.
Could use Xavier Watts for Notre Dame on Saturday, but instead he was making plays on Sunday.
Dud.
Samter, let's reach out to the Falcons. They have a good relationship with them. I love when Watts joined us last year. I'd love to get him back on the show. So maybe do that this week coming off a victory. But go ahead, next one.
We'll see what we can do. I'm going to go with
Perloff, Shep, Watts. Those are the 3 guest requests.
Perloff, Shep. Let me get Boyle. Maybe I'll call Bellotti up. And hey, Marash, I hear, is down the hall, too.
Yeah, You call Bilotti. That's a busy tone, I hear.
I'm going to go with my former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. He had a great week last week with 4 touchdowns. This week, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, including this crucial INT in the end zone with the game tied in the third quarter, and the game turned upside down from here.
Rodgers gestures with his right hand, settles back into the shotgun, gets a snap, back to pass, looking in trouble, rolls out to his left, fires towards the end zone. And is that caught? No, it's intercepted. Oh, picked off, intended for Pat Freiermuth, and Darian Kendrick somehow came away with it.
And Aaron Rodgers tried to rifle it in there, and the ball just kind of skipped off of it. Looked like, was that Roman Wilson that it skipped off of? Yeah. Oh, no. Calvin Austin jumped in front of Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth, I think, was the intended receiver, bounced off his left hand and bounced into the hands of Darian Kendrick.
Tough break for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, just one of those things where Aaron Rodgers looks great one minute and terrible the next. And like you said earlier, if the Steelers' defense is not great, this team could be in trouble also.
Dud.
All right, that will do it for Studs and Duds. We'll come on back. We'll give you some thoughts on the 2 Monday night games that we have coming up tonight. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will get to onside, offside coming up in about 10 minutes or so. We got 2 Monday Night Football games for you tonight. In the first one, you get the Texans and the Bucks. This game going to be in H-Town. Emeka Egbuka is my player to watch for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love what he did in Week 1 in that crazy game between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. I think that he's going to be a wonderful wide receiver in the NFL. If you're looking for anytime touchdown bets, I think for the Buccaneers, you're looking at Emeka Egbuka, or you're even looking at Bucky Irving. I'm a fan of Bucky Irving. I think Bucky Irving's a really good running back in this league, so maybe you watch out for those two guys. And on the other side for the Texans, I think this is a week where their offense really got to show me something. The Texans in Week 1, they were not good up against the Rams. That offense was just putrid. This is a game that I think most people believe, even though Tampa Bay is the underdog here, which is weird to me. But I think if we were to poll our listening audience, who wins tonight, the Buccaneers or the Texans, I think most people would say it's the Buccaneers. Now, usually the home team, you would think if the teams are even, they're a 3-point favorite. The Texans are only a 2.5-point favorite, so a differential of a half point. But if I had to make a play in this game tonight, I think we're going to see a lot of points. I do. I know both these teams, right, on paper should have solid defenses. The Texans with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. The Buccaneers, Antoine Winfield Jr. is as good as a safety as there is in the NFL. But I think both these quarterbacks, Stroud's got to bounce back this week. Maybe Nico Collins gets into the end zone. We'll see if the Texans can run the football. The Buccaneers, we know they love to throw the football. 42.5 points just seems too low here. So I like the over in the game tonight with the Buccaneers and the Texans. And then we get to the Chargers and the Raiders. The Chargers-Raiders game tonight, I have a lot of respect for Pete Carroll. Geno Smith is a solid quarterback. Ashton Genty, I do believe Ashton Genty is going to have a good game tonight. And Brock Bowers, where's Bowers tonight, Stu? He's going to play, right? The question is just how healthy Brock Bowers is?
Yeah, I know he's listed as questionable, but I believe he practiced on whatever the last day of practice was, I believe Saturday.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to play, but I guess the question always is how effective is he going to be?
And but how much he was in and out of that game against New England. He still had 5 receptions for 103 yards, which is just nuts, and it shows you how good he is. I'm curious about how Dante Thornton Jr. looks. He had a good start, good finish last week for those 2 catches. But this is a spot if you're a Chargers fan, you got to win tonight. You don't have to win tonight in terms of it being a must-win where it's going to make or break your season. But all those positive things that have been said about you, where, you beat the Chiefs, then the Chiefs are 0-2. The Chargers are really the team in the AFC West that I look at, that they got to take that baton and they got to sprint down the field. They got to sprint down the field until the Chiefs get things going. So when I look at this, Buccaneers and Texans, Chargers and Raiders, Bucks, Texans tonight, I like the over. Chargers, Raiders, here would be my play. This is my parlay tonight. Bucks, Texans, I'm taking the over 42.5. Chargers, Raiders, I really want to take the Chargers laying 3.5. I made it on the show. But in terms of the parlay, I'm going to go Amari and Hampton touchdown. I think everyone was high on Amari and Hampton last week. He was fine in his debut. It wasn't the reason why they won the game up against the Chiefs. But I'll go Amari and Hampton anytime touchdown, and I'll take the over in the Bucs-Texans game. So that's the 2 Monday night games tonight. Buccaneers-Texans at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Chargers-Raiders at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as well. We'll come on back. We'll do a little onside-offside update time first. Here's the Ack Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Some big names suffered some big injuries in Week 2. The Bengals have lost Joe Burrow for several months to a toe injury that requires surgery. Jake Browning starts next week against the Vikings, who will be without their starter, J.J. McCarthy, who could miss a couple of weeks with a high ankle sprain, giving way to Carson Wentz. The Vikings will also be without Aaron Jones due to a hamstring injury, and center Ryan Kelly and left tackle Justin Skule are both in concussion protocol. The Commanders' Jaden Daniels is on the injury report with a sprained knee, while the Jets' Justin Fields is in concussion protocol. The Bears have lost Pro Bowl corner Jalen Johnson indefinitely to a groin injury, and the Rams have placed corner Ahkello Witherspoon on injured reserve. Panthers guard Robert Hunt suffered a torn bicep and will have surgery. The Bucs will face the Texans in Houston in the front part of the Monday night doubleheader, and the Raiders host the Chargers in the second game, both coming off wins, so the winner will be the only 2-0 team in the AFC West. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. We're the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh, my God, we're back again.
It's time to ask the pros, and that's our question of the day. Obviously, that we do that. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Jack in Vegas says, Zach, what do you think of your first boxing match? Would you go again? You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Well, first off, Netflix hooked it up. Thank you to Netflix. They put us up in the Fontainebleau, phenomenal hotel in Vegas. And the actual fight night, they had me in two different areas. One was the Win Club, which is the touchdown club in the end zone in the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium. There was tomahawk steaks. There was caviar. There was booze all over the place. I had maybe the best cheeseburger slider I've ever had. The cheeseburger slider was to die for. Chicken, like everything. You had the good mixture of stadium food and then great people food, right? Like fancy food. I walked in with Dave Chappelle, which I couldn't believe. That blew my mind. And I don't usually get starstruck. I was starstruck there. And then for the actual fight, it's weird because it's kind of like the Final Four when you put basketball in a football stadium. I don't love it. I've been to UFC fights in a 20,000 person stadium. I've also been second or third row for the UFC, and that's just a different experience. I'm not a huge boxing fan. The only time boxing has really resonated with my generation was Fury and Wilder and some of these gimmick fights too after that. But Fury and Wilder was like the legitimate fights that we saw. I don't think this is going to have the trickle-down effect and the carryover effect, how Jim Gray was making it out to be. It was a really good fight. I loved it. All the other fighters on the card, did I really care for them? No, I didn't. I was too busy eating, caviar and tomahawk steaks and all that stuff. But Canelo and Crawford, it delivered. And Crawford, a lot of people thought Canelo was going to win. Everyone in Vegas, Canelo. Crawford was clearly better. It wasn't even close. And he had the little Nebraska feel to him as well, so I like that with a little Go Big Red. And Matt Rule, by the way, before Nebraska plays Michigan, is going to join us at some point this upcoming week. So I would go back. If I get treated like that, I don't care what the fights are. I will go back. But we got a good last fight on obviously, the main event. I saw people are bitching about the start time. Boxing is slower than the UFC. Like in the UFC, they move. The fight's over. Within 5 minutes, it feels like the next fight is starting. it's in between the fights where it still takes forever. So they got to have Dana White clean that up, and I think Dana White will clean some of that stuff up when he gets more and more matches and he does more and more of it and really puts his fingerprints all over it. But I only care, like when I go to UFC, I care about all the fights. Boxing, I only cared about this one fight. And I thought that was the biggest difference for me. But if we get treated the way that we got treated by Netflix, yeah. Send me to Bilotti and Samter, whoever fighting. I would be 100% in games. Send me to David Mayernick fighting with Pete Hoffman. I don't know. I just saw them talking in the newsroom. And I don't care who is fighting. You treat me like that, I'll go anytime. So I had a good time. And I thought, even with I think it was 78,000 people in the stadium. It was incredible how many people they had on the floor. In 70,000 seat stadium, I thought the energy in the crowd was great. I just prefer fights like that to be in 20,000 seat stadiums or less, but I get why they do it because of the Dinero. All righty, let's get to a little onside offside. Stu, hit it.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
Two-Tone Tony says, what about Mike Tyson versus Shep? All right, I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. Except, isn't Mike Tyson... You know, we didn't talk about that in Vegas. Oh, I can't... Isn't Mike Tyson fighting Floyd Mayweather? Right? How did we not bring that up in Vegas, Samter?
Well, it was one of the onside, offside questions that we had on Monday, I believe. Yeah. But we just never got to it because...
There was so much going on.
Yeah. I think it was on Friday, actually. It was an onside, offside question. We just didn't get to it.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I didn't talk about that. I said to Val, I'm going to go, we'll ask about Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, but so many people are locked in Canelo versus Crawford, and then all the storylines came with Dana White running it with the UFC, that this gimmick of Tyson and Mayweather, which shouldn't happen, is clearly an afterthought. All righty. What do you got cooking here, Stu?
All right, so the Colts and Daniel Jones are 2-0 after their thrilling yet controversial win over the Broncos yesterday. More importantly, Indiana Jones has the offense rolling, passing for nearly 600 yards and accounting for 5 touchdowns as the Colts became the first team in NFL history to go their first 2 games without a single punt. Onsides, offsides, the Colts and Daniel Jones are for real.
I think they are for real to win the AFC South. That is possible. For realsies in going to a Super Bowl, winning a playoff game, yeah, I'm not going there. They're 2-0. The Jaguars are 1-1, but Brian Thomas Jr. and Liam Cohen, I don't know what's going on there, and Trevor Lawrence. Seems like no one's on the same page. The Texans are on 1, could be 0-2 after tonight, and Tennessee has a good quarterback. The rest of the team is no bueno. So it's clearly a 2-team race in the AFC South. It's the Colts and the Texans. So the Colts and Daniel Jones are for real to potentially win the AFC South? Yeah, that's the way that I'll answer it. I will go on sides.
All right, the Bengals, they seem cursed despite coming off their trend of horrible starts, winning their first 2 games. The Bengals lost Joe Burrow for months as he undergoes surgery on his toe. Jake Browning filled in admirably, scoring 3 touchdowns despite tossing 3 picks in the win. We do remember Browning nearly leading Cincy to the playoffs in 2023, going 4-3 with 12 touchdowns and 7 picks in 7 starts. Onsides, offsides, the Bengals will be fine with Browning holding the fort until Joe Burrow gets back.
What they need to do, because Burrow could be back as soon as December 14th, so that would be with 4 weeks left in the season. They have 2 wins now. They need to get 4 more wins. Is that possible? Yes. Will I sit there and say that they're going to be fine and they will definitely do that? No. You just lost arguably a guy that could have won the MVP in the NFL this year. Could have won it last year. So am I going to say they're fine with Browning holding the fort until Burrow gets back? I like Jake Browning. He's a backup quarterback, though. So fine, I'm not ready to go there. Is it possible that they could keep the ship from sinking without Burrow until he comes back? Yes, but also it's 12 to 15 weeks. If he comes back in the 14 or 15 week timeline, the season's basically over. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be fine with Browning holding the fort until Burrow gets back. I know they won the game yesterday, and it was a nice touchdown by Browning at the end, but I'm not willing to say that they're going to be fine without Joe Burrow. So offsides.
Offside.
The Jaguars have looked impressive thus far, winning their first game before a heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati yesterday. While the offense has been rolling in Jacksonville, video showed Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence having a contentious back and forth between plays, though Cohen dismissed it as anything major.
That was just one throw. I was pissed.
You know, it is what it is. You know, it's not, that's emotion. It's not personal ever. You know, that's just kind of me getting worked up. So he threw a dime in the back of the end zone. We don't make a play. You know, I was very pleased with his competitive nature, the way he stayed calm on the sidelines. Like, he doesn't get, you know, he's pretty even keel, which is good for me. I need that.
Onside, offsides, the interaction between Cohen and Lawrence concerns you.
It does. I think it's different than the interaction we saw with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, where I don't think that's a big deal. I thought it was a healthy debate. When you're Liam Cohen, you're saying hit the guy in the chest, and then your quarterback on the field just waves you off. Seems a little bit icy to me. Trevor Lawrence also has to take better care of the football. So the interaction between Cohen and Lawrence concerns you? Yeah, it does. Slightly concerns me, but that's at least concerning, so onsides.
The NFC West looks dangerous with the 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals all starting 2-0, while the Seahawks are 1-1 after beating the Steelers. Mac Jones was impressive in relief of Brock Purdy. The Rams receiver duo of Puka and Devontae were dominant in their win over the Titans, and Kyler Murray looks healthy and sharp in Arizona so far. Onsides, offsides, the NFC West is the best division in the conference.
Oh, boy. I'm still going to slightly go the North. The Packers look like a legit Super Bowl contender. The Lions, I think, are back. Minnesota, we'll see how they're going to navigate the whole J.J. McCarthy injury. He could be out 2 to 4 weeks. The Bears are problematic. You know what? Because, I'm sorry, I have to go back on that. It's actually the NFC West. The North is more top-heavy, but the bottom team, if you tell me the bottom team in the NFC West is the Seahawks and the bottom team in the NFC North is the Bears, the Seahawks are better than the Bears. So the NFC West is the best division in the conference in the NFC. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with myself in the middle of that answer, then change it. Omaha, I'm going on sides there.
All right, the Browns fell to 0-2 with Joe Flacco struggling. The team sent Dylan Gabriel in to finish the game yesterday. The former Oregon star went 3 for 3 with 19 yards and a 13-yard touchdown strike to Dylan Sampson. But Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to talk about a possible quarterback change yet.
Are you open to getting Gabriel some snaps in a game?
Yeah, that's really not our focus. Yesterday, you understand that how the game was and where we were in the game, but that's really not our focus.
Onsides, offsides, Dylan Gabriel should start their Week 3 game against the Packers.
Onsides, I have no interest seeing Joe Flacco anymore, just like how I have no interest in New York seeing Russell Wilson. Let's see the youngsters, throw them to the Wolves. You got 2 first-round picks next year. Let's see if Dylan Gabriel will sink or will he swim, and if not, then hopefully you go to Shador after that. So onsides or offsides, Gabriel should start their Week 3 game against the Packers. I'm going onsides.
The Cowboys traded Micah to the Packers before Week 1, but nearly had a deal to send the All-Pro to another team. While speaking with Gary Myers on ESPN New York, Jerry Jones admitted that they were eyeing a different move.
What kind of reaction did you get from the Jets?
Just one that was just, frankly, didn't have the resources to entertain conversation. It was a very good brief visit.
I would imagine that somewhere in that conversation you might have asked for a 1, maybe 2 1s in Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is a better player, in my opinion, than Kenny Clark. But am I going down the right path there?
Yes, you are. A prerequisite to the entire trade was that we had to have right now a really, frankly, significant, dominant inside defensive player.
So it was just the one conversation with the Jets, and they weren't willing to meet your price.
Correct.
That was the end of it?
Correct.
Onsides, offsides, the Jets made a mistake not giving up Quinnen Williams and 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons.
I'm not going to crush the Jets here, and I'm going offsides. Quinnen Williams is a better player than Kenny Clark. Quinnen Williams not the holdup for me. The Jets can't afford to give up 2 first-round picks right now. The Jets stink. The 2 first-round picks that the Jets would give up are a lot different than the 2 first-round picks that the Packers did give up, because the Packers, bare minimum, were going to be a good team even before that deal was made. So you can't give up a very good player in Quinnen Williams and 2 first-round picks to get back Micah Parsons. I don't fault the Jets for not doing that. So you asked me, the Jets made a mistake not giving up Quinnen Williams and 2 first-round picks for Micah. I'm going offsides.
Offsides.
The Tennessee Volunteers lost Nico Iamaleava during the offseason, replacing him with transfer Joey Aguilar. While Iamaleava has struggled at UCLA, Aguilar has been great with over 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 picks in 3 games, nearly leading the Vols to an upset victory over Georgia on Saturday. Onsides, offsides, Tennessee is better with Aguilar than they were with Iamaleava.
We'll see if they'll make the playoffs. They should have beat Georgia, and obviously they did not. But the reason I'm going onsides is because Iamaleava didn't want to be there anymore. And he's been a disaster right now with UCLA. Deshaun Foster already got fired. Brent Pry got fired at Virginia Tech. So I don't have any problem saying Aguilar is better than Iamaleava. Now Iamaleava, technically that transfer portal window opens for the next 30 days. So will he just transfer and leave, and will he go somewhere else? We'll have to wait and see. But Tennessee is better with Aguilar than they were with Iamaleava. I'm going to go onsides there. All righty, onsides, offsides right there. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Adam Schefter just got me good. Tom Brady is coming out of retirement. That was the tweet. Sort of. To join Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Max Crosby, Rob Gronkowski, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett, and others for the Fanatics Flag Football Classic. I thought Brady to the Bengals? Oh, my God. That would have been something. But Schefter got me good there with the wording up. Stu, Samter, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. We'll recap the 2 Monday night games. We'll put a bow on week 2 of the National Football League season, get more into college as well. And I guess we'll hear Shep's rap tomorrow, too. What a way to tease the show. Big thanks to each and every one of you for tuning on in. We'll talk manana, everybody. I'm Zach Gelb. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.